Owen Benjamin tried to poison my lasagna. That's how you're going to try and Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Savage Sam's 27th birthday stream, part 1. And I apologize for the late hour. Apparently, the people who made OBS, they don't know how to push updates very effectively, so I had to manually download like 2 different versions of OBS to get this working. Fortunately, I was able to save my template, so I didn't have to do that. But anyway, we are here, we are live, and yep.
As usual, your boy, I'm here with young Sammy, and I've also agreed to firebomb the offices of the people that push the OBS updates, and I will be doing that in the near future. So everyone, keep your eyes on the headlines. How we doing, folks? Happy early birthday, Sammy.
Thank
You
you.
all for listening. Yep, thank you. Of course, you're welcome, you little motherfucker. I'm fired up tonight. I had a bad fucking day, but I'm in a good mood now because
What?
my day's over. So I'm
What?
happy to be here with all you lovely people.
Let's fucking hear about it. I'm all for an Apex rant if you're willing to share it. If not, I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's not, it honestly wouldn't be a good rant. It's just, bad day, bad life kind of thing. I actually thrive on self criticism. It's what has brought forth some of the best things about me. But, too much of a good thing in most cases is a bad thing. And yeah, I'm generally fed up with a lot of things, and my job being one of them. And it's just it's fine. Everything's fine. But honestly, the real kicker is my car's fucked up, and I
Ooh.
just got it paid off. I just got it paid off, so it's mine. And couple days, and actually, this happened a while ago. But my idler pulley in my serpentine system, right? Which this may resonate, may this should make sense to some people listening, but my idler pulley, the bearing got fucking welded together, and the whole pulley yanked out of the mount. So I bought an aftermarket pulley and mount and new belt, and I threw that one in like 1,200, not even 1,000 miles, I don't think. So I'm not real mechanically inclined. So I bought a new belt, and I'm looking around. My crank pulley all the way at the bottom is like coming apart. So it's pulling the belt off of the pulleys, specifically the idler pulley all the way at the top that has like edges on the side of it. So it's like cutting the belt, like one ridge at a time. You know what I'm saying? As it's pulling the belt. So my car is out of commission at the moment while I figure that out. And my quote unquote friends, I was supposed to be home like 2 hours ago because we're on winter hours right now at my work. So we close an hour early. So even if I close on a Saturday, I should be home within almost an hour of the show starting. But I just got left at this random place while this stupid bitch went with her other stupid bitch friend to go do stupid bitch things. Didn't say nothing to me that they were going anywhere. We stopped there for one thing only. That was for me to buy weed.
Bitches
Uh,
are bitches are incredibly stupid,
mhm.
Apex.
Of course, they certainly can be.
As we've discussed, I say that knowing that we have women lurking, um,
Yeah,
on the
they're all the same. They're all the same.
channel, not commenting, but just lurking on Twitter. Um,
Twitter and elsewhere for sure.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's my, that's my rant. It's really nothing spectacular. Just another, anger-filled day, unnecessarily anger-filled day for me because I hate everything, Sam. I hate everything. I'm so sick of it all. Just want to get struck by lightning already.
I am I'm not at that point, but I am at the point where like I just want a like a time machine. Like I either want to go forward in time to like when this shit like gets to be the worst, like see how it all ends, or I want to go back like I don't know, 15 years or something to like before the pre-woke era of shit. So, but you know, the one thing that does make me happy is that we have chat here, and chat is always willing to hear our rants.
Of course.
Um, and also we have people who want to jump in and chat. So we have Phil who wants to join
You
us,
know,
and I need to give him permissions to do that.
oh, let's do that.
Uh, because I am a fucking boomer when it comes to Discord, and I will admit that.
Well, I don't see him online, but I should have. Oh, he's
Uh,
not even in here.
yeah. Let me see if I. Oh yeah. Let me see if I emailed him.
Yeah, he's not even in here.
Yeah. Let me let me.
Charlie's dead. Oh, I see Alan got a new truck. Congratulations, my friend.
Did
It's a big
did
step
you
up for a ghost.
Yeah, majorly big step up. I was also gonna say Apex. At least you don't have at least you don't have Beamer problems, BMW problems.
Nor do I have BMI problems, huh?
Did you
Mersh is fat. That's what I was saying.
did you did you see Pod Apple's I don't know if it's his tweet or his retweet where he's like this is
Yeah, he's Stabby tweeted a picture of himself. Yeah, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, looking fat and retarded. And see, it's well known, like for the last pretty much as long as I've been listening to Come Down, Stavros has been a fat piece of shit, and he's bald, and they joke about him being bald, but he wants to grow like a bald ponytail. He's been working on that for a long time, and just being fat, like it's like the small dick thing, you know. Mersh has been, as far as I understand, he tried to coax Come Town years ago and failed and talked a lot of shit, which is why I think Pod Awful. He probably still listens, just doesn't endorse them publicly.
yeah, I mean that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I would actually love to know the fallout of that because I feel
I
like
guarantee. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like either Merch would have to be too much of a piece of shit to join Cumtown, or they would just have to be like bored by him, or maybe
Well, no,
both.
they're not interested in anybody. That's the thing. Like they have their comedian friends, their close friends, and some of their close friends that are comedians haven't even been on the show. I don't know if like Shane Gillis has been on it. I know Tim Dillon and several other people. I mean, like roommates that they live. You know what I mean? That they literally live with. Have been the only guests. They had Bam Margera on a live podcast thing, and then they had there's been a handful of randoms that they've done, and it's been years now since they've done it. It's not they don't bring people into their circle like that, not the Come Down circle. As far as I understand, you know, I don't look into it at all
I
beyond
don't
what I hear on the show.
I
But
don't think I've ever heard them with guests before.
they have absolutely had guests. Some of them they have multiple times. Jamel something, a black dude comedian, has been on a couple times. There was like a week or two that Nick went to California and he did a couple of shows with neither Stavros nor Adam, just two totally different people, like a chick and a dude. But you know, but the point is like Mersh. As far as I understand, again, I don't look into any of this shit. I just go off of what I read, based on what I hear. Uh, is that yeah, he tried to ingratiate himself to like the Come Town peeps to the crowd and got roundly rejected or shit on some way or another, and he took that to heart, as he tends to do, and,
he tried
denounced them.
he tried to do the same with compound media.
Mhm.
Like
Compound Media, Owen Benjamin. I mean, I know there's a long list. Somebody in the chat, fill me in,
yeah.
because I know it's longer than just those handful. Couple, rather. Or would it be few? That was more than two.
I
Few.
mean, but he opened for Doug Stanhope back in like 2004. So, that's something, right?
Red Bar. Oh, yeah. Red Bar is a good one. Red Bar Radio. He tried to ingratiate himself to Red Bar. Now he's a recurring punchline. Probably Medicare, too.
Oh yeah, he's the reason he hates Medicare is he's trying to get into Medicare's sphere. And yeah. And I
Well,
don't even know that much about Jim. But from what I know about Jim, I like him, and I especially like Jim because Jim shits on all the same people I like to shit on.
well, yeah. Jim's, they call him Daddy Jim for a reason. It's half ironic at this point. But, he's the old school of just laughing at people on the internet. Yeah, Alan's going off. Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern, Red Band, Gabe Hoffman, Infowars, Joe Rogan.
I mean, yeah. Al, see, Alan actually made a post on his YouTube community tab. I think is pretty poignant that basically everyone, even in, I guess, and I hate using this term, but the RTC community that like Mert has turned on have all been funnier than he is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, not even the people that have turned on him, but just the people he, incessantly hates and has to try and mock to his audience. Um, are all. I mean, most of them are funnier than him without trying. He runs a show to be funny, and he's the only time he is when typically cringeworthy comedy.
I think he's finally admitted though that like his he finally admitted, and Mersh, if you're watching this, I am proud of you for finally admitting that your stream is an exercise in self-hatred and narcissism. Okay? I I'm glad that uh that you can admit that. Uh
Well, and that's you mentioned this before, and I have a question about that because this is one of the things that I don't actually believe that because there is a wide market of in what do you call it, like I guess self-hatred is kind of what, or self-ownage, and just honestly just being honest, you know
yeah.
um about your faults and shit in a comedic. That's what comedy is in a lot of ways. A lot of good comedians are just brutally fucking honest, both about themselves and the world that they perceive. That's kind of what makes comedy funny in a lot of ways.
Yeah. That
Uh, but
I
but
would I would say
go
that's
ahead.
why you're good at it,
Ah,
actually,
hush.
somewhat.
Well, no, that wasn't my point. What my point was, maybe. I mean, I guess maybe it comes down to the same thing. Is I enjoy comedy too, and I have for a long time. I used to watch comedy specials like when I was a teenager, and my dad used to gawk because I would never really laugh or even really smile while I was watching these things. I was just kind of consuming them. But comedy has always been something that's near and dear to me since I was a little kid. I've always being funny and laughing was always something that I cared about more than anything. But I never considered a career in it. I do this show with you as a fluke and because I like your crippled fucking ass. Uh,
I
and
I
I
appreciate that.
wouldn't have the motivation to do this. I don't have enough narcissism to, you know, to invest in enough equipment and time to learn all this shit to do it on my own. You know, that's why the only thing noteworthy that I've done before this show was videos that I recorded on my phone with a free app that I did live commentary. You know what I mean? Like, not high production value, just talking, giving my opinion. It's not really special, other than the fact that it's mine, I guess. But yeah,
Oh,
is this funny? Are we being funny right now?
yeah. Well, chat is making me crack up. Specifically, whiskey. He says, that's how Apex thinks comedy is self-deprecating.
No, no, that's not all comedy is, but some of the best comedy is, can be, tends to be.
Uh, uh,
Can be. I shouldn't say tends to be. It can be.
yeah. So I
Because
mean,
we all have our fucking flaws, man. And when people are honest enough to maybe not talk shit about themselves, but use themselves as an example to talk shit about everyone else, you know what I mean? There's a fine line between those two things, I guess. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm I'm hearing a
You're hearing a cat, aren't you?
I'm hearing a pussy in
Yeah. She's freaking out for some reason.
in the
Anyway,
yeah. Apex is a cat man. We we love him for it. I think so, at least.
love me or hate me, it is what it is, man.
Um
So anyway, Sammy, let's what do you got planned for your big birthday weekend?
well, basically, I didn't do anything today except for like try and prep for this stream. I went up, I got up, went to like a therapy appointment, and actually, it wasn't really that. It was an acupuncture appointment because yes, I'm allowing the Chinese to kind of zap my brain, I guess. And then I came back and I slept for like 3 hours. Got up, I was talking to a couple people, and then I did show prep, and then OBS took a shit, and now we're here. And
Hell yeah.
now
What are you drinking? You're drinking, right?
I was drinking Budweiser earlier. I don't have anything right now. Um
Are you gonna gift the audience with a crawl to the refrigerator while I regale them with some nonsense that I can't think of?
I'm trying to figure out how to add Phil to this stream
Oh
too.
no.
It's let me
Oh no, not Phil.
I know
The only person in our circle that talks more than me. We can't do that, man.
well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
I
kidding.
mean hey,
It's your birthday stream, nigga. Do what you want.
and then our friend Christian Blatt may come on at some point, but um I don't know. Why is Discord being a faggot right now? Such faggotry. Um hmm. Phil, if you go to voice channels, you should be able to see on air chat. I I would think. Maybe not though. Okay, let me go to the settings. This should be yeah, you should be able to see some of this at least.
Fuck are we doing, Sam? You dicking with
Uh,
Discord?
I I just fixed Discord, I think, but
Christian Blatt will be here momentarily. He says he's not sure how to jump on.
I need to send him.
It's a new Discord. You got banned
Yeah,
again.
I got yeah. I've been banned 3 times by Discord. Let me send. Fortunately, my phone did not go off. Otherwise, I would have been hit for copyright just then.
What was it? The fucking Godfather theme?
No, it was Judas Priest that was about to.
Oh.
Because yes, I actually do listen to I listen to boomer music. What can I say? Oh, hey Phil, you figured out how to use Discord finally.
I had to restart. I had to restart it in order for
Hi,
it.
Philly.
I was messing around with it, and I was trying to get on, and it wouldn't let me on. And then as soon as I restarted it, I saw everything. So I was like, "All right,
Oh,
good.
okay. Well, glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Happy early birthday."
Thank you. And we haven't even gotten the Coke out yet.
I know, right? We gotta get the Coke, the strippers, all the we gotta get this party going.
Well, we got our lady troll in the chat. Maybe she'll show some tits finally.
Which
But
which one do we have? Which lady troll do we have in the chat?
oh,
Oh,
Carl.
the one yeah, the
The one LARPing as a dude. Yeah.
As long as they're real titties, I'd be like, you want to see my National Geographic titties? Here you go. Like, oh, all right. Anyway.
Well,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, G4 is I guess they're trying to make a comeback in regards to that whole thing. Unsuccessfully rather, but hey, they're still trying.
So what do you have planned?
Go ahead.
So what do you have planned for this? Obviously, you're going to be online sharing yourself with these wonderful people. But what else do you have planned for this birthday?
Let's see. Well, tomorrow I'm having dinner with family.
There you go.
I might be guest appearing on another stream to be announced. And then Monday, I'm finally going to see the new Spider-Man because people have pestered me. So I'm caving to peer pressure and I'm going to see it finally.
Okay.
So that should be neat. And then, Alan Pal and I may or may not go to the shooting range or something.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty awesome.
We were also going to go off about fucking mandates, bro. I'll tell you what, I'm fired up about mandates.
Is it bad? Is it bad where you're at? Like what's going on?
No, it's actually not. I mean, everywhere, including my job, has rules, and they've put back up posters in front of stores saying if you're not vaccinated, blah 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 blah. But as I did all along, I've not worn a mask anywhere. I don't wear one at work. And nobody says anything. I mean, the occasional from the boss, like, dude, you're in your leadership. You gotta. Well, no, I don't, and you can't make me. Yeah, I don't agree with it anyway. So, everybody underneath me has the option, as they should. You can wear one. The company says you should wear one. You might get fired if you don't, but I'm not gonna make you, and I'll get fired if anything. And it's been almost 2 years. It feels like fucking 4. But yeah, no, I don't. If I'm sick, I stay home. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't go out in public. and I minimize my exposure as I have done since I was a toddler or at least a teenager. It's how I was raised. Wash your hands, kind of thing, as we've talked about ad nauseum. But no, I don't know. I'm in the middle of nowhere though. Like where I live is kind of the fucking Bermuda Triangle of the Midwest. Like it almost doesn't exist. It's you drive 45 minutes any direction and you are in a city shithole plagued by violence. I'm really close to Chicago. Um and I see reports coming out of all these places. I don't know how much of it's real and how much of it's drummed up, but yeah, no, I mean, what about you, Phil? What's going on where you at?
It's in Philadelphia, like that's where it's starting to get a little crazy now. Like they're not allowed. A lot of places aren't allowing people to be in public places without being vaccinated. But nobody's really enforcing it in Philadelphia. Like I've literally never seen a cop. I've never seen anybody that's like going, "Hey, let me see your vaccination record." Like I've never. I went to an Eagles game. Sorry, guys, and uh, and when I bought the tickets, they sent me this email that was like, "Oh, you need to have proof of vaccination, or you need to have a negative test and all that stuff." And so I was like, "Oh, well, I got to get the test." Da, 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 da. I get there and nobody asks for jack shit. Like nobody. So it's, I
Well,
think it's, I don't know. It's one of
yeah,
those things. Democrats look for power that way. It's like they want to pass these regulations so that they have the power to selectively enforce it. And I think that's where we're at with a lot of these cities. It's about power. It's not about what's best for the country
Whi-
or your health or safety or whatever. It's about money and
no,
power.
Whis-
of
Always
course.
is.
Whiskey in chat just said that I guess he got locked down again.
Mm.
Yeah, and he's in well shit, I guess a Democrat state, but hey, it's not far from me. And that's not something I would expect.
Mm. Well, I mean, you could be in a Republican state, but then have a Democrat city. I mean, that's kind of getting
Yeah.
out ahead too. Look at Texas, right? Texas is a red state, but you got these crazy ass blue cities that are just going crazy with the frickin' and
Austin.
yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous now. Well, it's been ridiculous for a minute, but I mean,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what it is.
I'll be right back, guys. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, to be fair, if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you don't, don't. I mean, I've always said that. But I mean, at this point, I mean, the thing it is, the vaccine doesn't even really protect against
yeah,
Omicron or
yeah.
whatever new variant that's coming out this week or whatnot. I say that jokingly, but it's like they come out with new variants every like 5 days or something. It seems.
Yeah, I mean, the thing. I mean, we were led to believe that this vaccine had some qualities that, like, either made you immune to it or to the point where you couldn't spread it. Well, we know that it's bullshit now. So, I mean, why would you why are you still forcing people to get vaccinated knowing damn good and well you can still spread it and you could still get sick from it? Like, I mean, it's not the I mean, at that point, I'm just like, well, whatever. Fuck it. Might as well not take it.
Oh, are we on the vaccination now? I just got back. I'm sorry.
It was just a very basic, like I think, because we were talking about a little bit about the mandates, and it was like, well, it's just not. It just doesn't make any sense to. It just doesn't make any sense to have them, or like when the vaccination doesn't. I mean, if you want to get it, but I mean, it's like it doesn't. Knowing now what we know now, that it doesn't prevent you getting the virus. It doesn't prevent you spreading the virus. It doesn't prevent, so it's like,
sure. Yeah, I mean, shit that we all knew all along.
Yeah.
I mean, to be quite frank, I think what we should do is round up all of the vaccinated. We should round them up and put them in fucking camps, bro. Flamethrowers involved, mind you, with the guards. Of course, barbed wire. We'll set that shit on fire too. Flaming barbed wire around these camps, and we'll figure it out from there. I think that's the next step. To be honest with you,
I think what needs to happen is, I agree with the camps thing, but I don't think that's even far enough. Let's put all of our vaccinated on on a ship, and then send them to their own continent or something. They can use Epstein Island or whatever the abandoned
I just moved Christian into the on-air chat because he was in general.
Oh, hey.
I don't know if he was ready to come in or not. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was, and
okay.
I was just like, wait a minute, I definitely did the wrong thing, and I was trying to figure it out. Well, sorry to just kick the doors in and
I literally did that. So that's
put a damper on the party. But Sam, did I hear that you're 27?
Yes, you did.
Oh man, congratulations! I remember when I was 27. Legitimately, there was still a realistic chance that one day John Kerry would be president. That's how long ago I turned 27.
That was a while ago. That was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
but you haven't aged a day, I don't think.
I've aged a day since the start of 2022. I've aged a lot of days. I was listening to the conversation and I was like, am I not going to be able to get into the chat because I got a booster shot? Is that really what's happening to me?
No, you might be the one who's pro vax here.
Oh, hold on.
Well, my reason's very specific. It's because I have two small kids, and I was like, I live in Los Angeles. For anybody that doesn't know, sure. And it was, and I don't know. I felt okay about it, but at the same time, I have very few people in my life out here that didn't, but a couple of them. One of them, Sam, from time on the Blackcast and on the Dennis Miller show, our friend Liev. He's one of the few people I know that weren't. And he got sick, and like everybody who gets sick, he got better. But I don't know if you're up on the Blackcast at the moment, Sam, but I also had we had COVID in my house earlier this year. But I tell you, the Omicron, it's like I don't know, 1/20th of like a strep throat. It's like I took an extra long nap. Yeah. And so I have my shots, and I also got sick. So I don't know what's right.
I'll tell you what. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll tell you what. Fine. Compared to 1 year ago, Sam. Well, no, yeah, 1 year ago. I actually know a lot of people that have had COVID now, because a year ago I didn't know a single fucking person.
I knew very few a year ago. I agree with you. I did know a couple. I had some friends who lived in New York who, like, within less than a month, like, got it and got it bad. But for the most part, I didn't know that many people. I agree with you. But it actually, before I had it, my wife and I were talking. It's like everybody we know has it. Then they have it for a little bit, and this, look, I definitely don't pretend to know science of anything, but I think this one, more than any other, the people that I know who are vaccinated versus who aren't, they all seem to, it seems that this one's pretty easy to kick. And what
Yeah.
I've always said is I don't want anybody to ever get sick from it, but anybody who does get it, I hope they get over it quickly. And whether they got somebody that didn't get a shot, I don't think deserved it, which is a narrative that it's hard to avoid online. And so it's like, well, did I not deserve it? Because I took my kids to Legoland for New Year's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know
look,
when we got it. But we as soon as we found out that my kids were sick, we told their schools, we kept them home, and it was like, all right, let us know when they test negative, and they can come back soon.
It's really messed up, Christian. For sure remember a time when school, work would straight up bully you into coming into either school or work if you were sick.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially work.
yeah.
Especially
I mean,
work, right?
Working in radio and television, back when I used to be in show business, it was just the idea of like, what do you mean you're not coming in today? I've never been an essential employee pretty much anywhere, and the idea of staying home, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
And to some people, that's like a very American thing, which on the one hand, I guess we can be proud of ourselves, but on the other hand, it's like, maybe when you don't, not when you have a cold, but like if you're like, oh, it's everything hurts, I don't want to get out of bed. Don't bring that into work. And I'm not even talking about COVID. I'm talking about
well, right. There's a couple of, listen, in my mind, and I am 35 years old, for as long as I can remember, if you have a fever, if you're throwing up, if you have diarrhea or any well, maybe not the diarrhea part, but if you have diarrhea plus one of the other two, those are the three just off the top of my head that if you have, you shouldn't be around other people because it's likely you have some sort of virus or something, some sort of contagion that will pass on and make other people sick. Now, we have a God-given immune system. Thank the Lord for that. That is one of the most amazing things the universe has ever created, as far as we know, other than the universe itself. But we, the idea that the immune system, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. This whole, like, even my company right now, we've hired more people than we've ever had in the last year. I mean, we went from a basic skeleton crew. It's a retail type of business. We have a store, open, close hours. And we deal with customers. And we sell stuff, right? We went from, like I was just mentioning, when I started there in 2019, since the store opened, the bosses, including myself, would be like, well, how sick are you? Are you throwing up? What's wrong? Let me send me a picture of your fucking thermometer type of thing. Like, I need you here. To now, corporate is offering people so much money and time. Like, if you have a sore throat, if your back hurts, all these symptoms, they're making us check into work, which by all accounts is illegal. You have to check into work at least 15 minutes before, either on an app, via text message, or via phone call, before you can even clock in. Answering all these, certifying, verifying that you're not sick. You don't have these basic symptoms. You don't have a cough, a sneeze, you haven't tested positive for COVID. It's literally insane because all of the symptoms are things we've all dealt with. And like I was mentioning a minute or two ago, I now know a handful of people that have been really sick with COVID, quote unquote, been diagnosed and been sick. Their whole house got it. And everyone has been different, but they've all been, it's just the flu.
Well,
it's a bad cold or it's the flu or whatever. And the difference is the propaganda behind it, the fear pushed behind it. I've literally talked to people within the last 3 days, people that I respect that think that they're putting COVID in the water because the at-home COVID tests say don't put the COVID test into anything other than your nose because it will test positive. So they think that information tells them that, well, they're putting COVID in everything, not that the COVID test itself is just going to, maybe faulty.
So
I mean,
or
that's
give you
crazy
false
because we all know that the COVID's in our cell phones, and that's the only place that it can be found. So, I mean, that right there is just insane. I'm sorry. Who did I talk over? My apologies.
No, keep going. Please just cut me off, please.
Yeah,
I will go for it.
my question is did COVID kill Bob Saget? Because if you listen,
I think he had a heart attack or a stroke. That's what I have read. I think in the
Let me
days
tell
after
you
it.
something, brother. Sorry. I had to put
Oh,
that
yeah,
in there.
I know.
I had to do it. Yeah.
what
You
if,
know, the Hulkster is convinced.
Mm.
Yeah, I know that. Look, it's not impossible, but I mean, he had just done a couple of shows, so it's like if COVID killed him, it did it in the sneakiest way possible. It like left his system, and then he was able to do a couple of shows in Florida, and then he dropped dead. So.
I just heard that from Nick DiPaolo's podcast yesterday, and I know that you kind of know Nick.
I love Nick, but he is usually not my. He's a top-notch source for comedy, not so much a top-notch source for news.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean I'd heard that in the days after it, and yeah, I mean it was Hulk Hogan said that, right? It was Hulk Hogan's theory, which I mean I didn't. It's Hulk. We don't hear much from Hulk ever since that video of his, and he, I guess, bankrupted. What company was that? Gawker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he usually keeps to himself because he's like, what do I need more trouble for?
I'm still not sure that Alex Jones didn't just rip off his whole gimmick from Hulk Hogan. I'm still convinced that Alex Jones is just some WWE reject that
I mean, look, he's always doing a hype video for a steel cage match with the Lizard Man. I mean, I think that's a big part of Alex Jones's shtick, and Alex Jones is incredibly entertaining, and I think that it's a lot of what people need to separate. It's like Joe Rogan is incredibly entertaining, and he has people on with different points of view, but it's not as though it's presented as like everything out of this person's mouth is their opinion, and it might be factually based opinion, but it's like, just, I don't know, listen to what they have to say, and hopefully you don't get
Joe Rogan is a scourge on the public.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully you don't get all your, I get all my information from Sam Whitfield. I think that's what we should all be doing. Yeah.
Quick question though. Would it be entertaining if Alex Jones put on yellow tights and did an atomic leg drop on a lizard person?
Entertaining is not a strong enough word.
Yeah.
That would be brilliant, and I think that would be one of those seminal moments in human history. It would be like, where were you when you saw Alex Jones in yellow tights?
Well, seeing Alex Jones do the Joker impression from like way back in the day, that was when I first discovered who he was. That makes the movie It look like a kid's movie by comparison.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. What you were saying before in terms of jobs discouraging people from coming in, and sort of the earlier point before I jumped in that I heard in YouTube, it's having events in and yes, it's very regional in a lot of places where it's like, we need to be vaccinated to come in here and that stuff. I mean, I think a huge part of that is just liability, because nobody wants to be sued for, hey, I got COVID at work, hey, I got COVID at an Eagles game, which I've been to sporting events in Philadelphia. Like, catching COVID would be the least of my concerns, in terms of all the other germs flying around there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's really a huge part of it, because it's like just venues. I mean, here in LA, it's like, you go to anything, you need to be vaccinated or the negative test. And I feel, on the one hand, I can understand, because look, these are private businesses that are saying like, we don't want this headache. So yes, show us a vax card. And I always think that the distinction is or the negative test, because anybody can get a negative test. I went because I went to a comic convention in December, the middle of December, and they had like a tent where they were doing the test. So if you didn't show up with a test, it's like, great, just go get one. And I've heard about a lot more of that. And it's like, if that's what they want their policy to be, that's how their insurers will let them hold their event. I don't think it's 100% right, but I do understand that. Do you still want to go to a concert? Do you still want to go to a sporting event? This is sort of, and look, in plenty of places, where Sam lives, you probably don't have to do any of that. But in a lot of other places, you just do. And some of it's
Vaccine
definitely
mandates
political.
have been a thing for a long time, though.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
that has been a thing for a lot. There's a lot of mandated vaccines, and they have been.
No, I
around
mean,
for a long
any
time.
of us who went to public school, I mean, I'm
Have been
assuming in any
vaccinated.
state.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean,
I think
I'm registering my daughter for what they call transitional kindergarten, and on Friday
wow.
I got to get her a bunch of shots. She's 4. They don't mandate the COVID shot even if she was older, but there's a whole bunch that I have to get her. I don't know where she's at in her mumps, rubella, any of that stuff. But we've all got those shots, and I think that a lot of our
Fucking tetanus
parents were
boosters?
probably. Yeah, I mean, our parents were probably easier, more at ease with that because it's like they got them, their parents got them, and they're like, yeah, these are the shots that you get to go to stuff. This new one, it's still very new, and you can ask a lot of questions about it. And I understand people asking questions and not wanting to get it. It sort of depends on where you live as to how that impacts your life. If you live in Los
That's
Angeles and
exactly
you don't
right.
get it,
Just
if
like-
you get it, if you get it, if you don't get the shot and you live in Los Angeles, you just have to be okay with like, well, I need to I just have to get shots. I mean, sorry, I have to get tested all the time. And then when it gets into like restaurants won't let you in for dine-in, that seems shitty. But so far, I haven't heard of like, well, you can't go to the supermarket without being vaxxed. So like the essential things,
right.
And I don't, I like I said, I don't know if it's right. I understand where some of it comes from and why it's all so regionally based. And I don't know what's right. I just know what made sense for me and for my family. And
that is what it should be, man. That is exactly how it should be. We all should have it. It should be a choice. This is still fucking America, and we are in a lot of ways wholly uninformed and just ignorant fucks en masse regardless of the population size. Out here in the middle of the country, I'm dealing with some genuinely ignorant people, but they're ignorant on a smaller scale. You cram people together, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to frame ignorance into what you're talking and what you're referring to, but it's
but I mean, ignorance it can be defined as sort of a lack of information,
right.
And
sure,
I think depending on and I think a lot of people are guilty of that. My friends on the super far left are very ignorant in a lot of information. My friends on the super far right, some of them are very ignorant,
right.
So it's just like it's like, where do you get your information from, and why are you not willing to hear other things? A long time ago, I think that this barometer has changed, but going back like 15 years, my old boss Dennis Miller would say, like, it's basically, if you were to get like like the New York Times and the Washington Times, or the New York Post and the Washington Post, those are very ideologically different places. So it's like, if you go to both, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's as cut and dried as that, but I think the kernel of that idea is still there. It's like, yeah, you should, and I've long thought that somebody ought to have made a killing, giving just actual information with no editorializing.
Yeah.
But I guess there's no market for that. So
well, and part of that whole thing, it's interesting that you bring that up, because one thing that that I've run into a lot kind of in this is the whole idea of clickbait and needing to have like a catchy title in order to attract eyes and whatnot. And there is the whole thing of, if we just reported the news with no spin, it would be too boring for some people. And so,
It's true. Yeah.
would it be
Go
better?
ahead.
Sure. But would it make as much money? Probably not. So that's why it doesn't happen on either side.
Yeah, and I mean, there is it's been said for as long as I can remember, just about the difference between the internet's not real life, and the advent of social media over the last decade plus. It's like it's a whole new thing. It's still not real life, but there is a whole population of people that have lived their entire lives here on the internet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this country and outside of it, and discerning reality from falsehood, again, is a historically treacherous path. I feel like it's why everything's so fucking confused right now, because normal thinking, I guess, generally normal thinking people who spend almost all of their free time on Facebook, outside of taking care of their friends and or their family, their kids, and their responsibilities, all they see is the headlines. And I mean, I'm projecting a little bit here because I've definitely done that before. I'm relatively new to the internet, as longtime listeners would know. Or I mean, this form of interacting with it, but I don't remember what the point was. I'm sorry, guys. Phil, you haven't said anything in a minute. You still there?
Yep, still here.
I
What's up?
I was just gonna
Nothing.
say, I know, Christian, you and I have talked. I know that you knew Andrew Breitbart back in the day, and I was just thinking last night, obviously we have no way of knowing what he would think, but I almost have to wonder, because I know back in the day he was a bit of a Twitter addict, self-admittedly, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I was kind of thinking, I'm like, would Andrew still enjoy Twitter if he were still around today, or would it be too much of a dumpster fire even for him now? Because
It's a great question. I also feel like he would have, just because of the nature of his name and what he does, he would have been under one of like an industrial strength microscope, and probably wouldn't be able to be on Twitter without adding new accounts. Sort of like anybody who tries to follow Anthony Cumia, he is always up as something different and never his name, because he gets kicked off pretty regularly. And so, yeah, I think but the bigger question, I mean, I think he loved the immediacy, the interaction, and he would always retweet. Like, he was the first person I knew to do this. A lot of people do it, but is retweet the most vile, like, hate-filled comments, and he just loved that stuff. People that disliked him that much, and he would just retweet them because it's like sort of shining a light, like, this person said this, publicly. This wasn't a DM. So yeah, I do wonder. I think about that sometimes. What he would think about just social media. And it's admirable, all the people who have tried to start other companies and offshoots and things, but it's still hard to, if you're not Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, if you're not one of those, you're not reaching as many people. And so I would like to see if Andrew Breitbart had dance routines on TikTok, though. That would have been amazing.
I feel like he would definitely have a dance routine on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like him and Tim Dillon would have would have already
Yeah.
started a podcast by now.
After they
Yeah,
fucked each other.
that's a great point. Yeah, Tim Dillon is. It's funny because Tim Dillon is one of those people that, like, if you know, and I don't mean if you know him because I don't know him personally, even remotely. But if you know who he is, and you get like, I don't want to call it shtick because that's demeaning, but if you get what his approach is, he's one of the funniest people working today. You know,
He's very funny.
Definitely.
so funny. And but a lot of people, even people who consider themselves open-minded and like a lot of comedy, like, you know, maybe like, oh yeah, somebody who that any of us know that might be like, oh yeah, the new Chappelle was great, Louis C.K.'s new special was great, both of which are things that are true. They may not even know Tim Dillon just because of, you know, where he gets the opportunity to shine isn't as mainstream as having a Netflix special, you know. But then at the same time, you know, you see guys like, you know, Shane Gillis put his latest special on YouTube, and
Very good.
he's got like millions
Very
of
funny.
views.
Very good.
You know,
That
and
was
it's
very
like,
good.
yeah, his new special is great, you know. And I think even some of your older sort of, I don't want to call them establishment, but other comedians are just starting to realize like Jim Florentine's been around forever. He's one of the puppets on Crank Yankers, you know, amongst other things. And he put his special on there because it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, Netflix didn't call. So the next best thing is like, just put it up there. People will watch it. And then you know, you have a link in there for when you have tickets on sale, or, you know, to buy an album or whatever you put out. So yeah, it's more useful as that material. And you know, Tim Dillon is you know, other comics who actually like him are like outraged at how much money he makes on Patreon. You know, I think Whitney Cummings is very good friends with him, and I think she was one of the ones who posted.
See, Tim Dillon as a homo, he's got that gay man ambition. He's ready to fucking go. He will dive the fuck in. He does not give a shit. He's ready to go. He puts it all in wherever it's going. It's just all there. That's kind
of he's got his fake business merchandise. You know, I mean, it's great. Yeah,
it's
his
Meghan McCain impersonations were
so
probably the funniest thing maybe I've ever seen as far as impersonations go.
And I have a couple of friends who worked with Meghan McCain in radio, and Tim Dillon's impressions, I think, are very kind comparatively.
Yeah.
I know I bring it up all the time, but I'm not going to mention the podcast, but I will. The dark horse in the current comedy, like I don't want to say the Z word, but like the most influential, most successful, is, although he's exceptionally lazy, is Nick Mullen. It was a friend of Tim Dillon and is also on, I don't even remember what fucking show it was, but recently commented on Tim Dillon's success on Patreon, making fucking like $200,000, you know, $200,000 a month or some shit, or a year, whatever it was. But
I think it's a month, which
it may be a month, yeah.
Crazy.
But
yeah,
there's I don't look into much of anything anymore. I used to be this when I first got into the internet, quote unquote. I was, you know, I never really went on Reddit for much of anything, or anywhere else for that matter. But I just kind of observe things and make judgments based on what I see, without looking further into it. It serves me well, and I enjoy it. But the Cumtown podcast, and Nick, which is Nick Mullen's podcast, is thanks to YouTube and the wonderful algorithms, I have been suggested, or recommended rather, videos of people I don't even know who the fuck they are, and they get like 2,000 views. But there's actual Saturday Night Live skits within the last year or two that are straight up Cumtown bits. So there's like,
I've heard of that of Cumtown and the guys
horrible,
involved, but I've heard specifically what you're talking
don't
about.
Listen to it.
No, but I've heard
my
that
point is
that SNL has turned, that like Yeah, that you have like, look, SNL has like 25 writers easily.
Yeah.
And I think to make a splash, sometimes people borrow things that they think they're not going to get caught, and that might have worked in like 1985,
Sure.
but you can't really do it
before the
now,
internet. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. So, but again, Tim Dillon is prolific, and not only is he funny, he's very smart. He I think that's why he's doing so well, because he's not just ambitious, but he is thoughtful. You know, uh, very mindful, I guess you could say.
yeah, I mean, I mean, he's certainly one of my favorite comedians. I mean, working today, other than Louis C.K. I think Louis, as of the current comics, is probably my favorite at the moment. But then I mean, we also have the whole sphere of YouTubers that are coming up too now,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's that's incredibly interesting. And I mean, the other thing is someone mentioned Compound, and like Anthony Cumia or not, Compound has found some great comedians, in the past couple of years. You have
Yeah.
Pat Dixon with with the New York Crime Report, and Christian, you were actually on Compound just this week, weren't you?
Just this week, I was on with Don Jameson. I've been on his show a couple of times, and I was actually supposed to have been in New York this past week before the scourge of COVID darkened the door of my home. But so I was going to be there in studio, but I just did it on Zoom, and it was fine. But I've been on with him a couple of times, and people might know Don. I've mentioned Jim Florentine before. Don, Jim, and this guy Eddie Trunk used to do this show on VH1 Classic called That Metal Show. So he's like very specifically like a hard rock heavy metal comedian, Don Jameson. I busted out like 4 or 5 jokes about Judas Priest that I think he wanted to buy from me afterwards. So I was like, all right, good. That's all I wanted.
Oh hell yeah.
You should you should hold on to those jokes and have people.
Well, there were very specific jokes about Judas Priest going out there as a quartet, and most people thought it was with only one guitarist, and the idea was that they were doing it to save money. And so I was just like, well, how else are they going to try to, cut costs from the budget? Is they going to go out hell bent for pleather? Was it going to be, we're not so much breaking the law, but coming really close to damaging the law, but not in a way that we're held fiscally responsible, stuff like that. But then they've since decided that they're not going to go out as a quartet anymore. They're going to have 2 guitarists. So basically, in the 1 week that I could have used those jokes and a couple others, now it's like, all right, well, now they're not doing it. So. That's why you got to strike while the iron's hot. But Combat has, we were tweeting earlier today at Aaron Berg and how funny he was. And if you remember, Sam, how much Dennis Miller loved having him on his podcast. He didn't know Aaron until I brought him to him. And, and just, I mean, there's the just that Chrissy Mayer's on that network. And the thing about them is that it's subscription. So you have to pay to be there. It's not just YouTube. So they have a lot more leeway in what they can say. And then I don't think they have to worry, like the clips that they show during their shows and stuff. I don't think they have to worry in the way that we would streaming on YouTube or Discord or anywhere like that.
I used to. I mean, I was a subscriber of Compound for about like 2 years actually, and I've said that if they bring you on more often, I might have.
Yeah, now you're talking.
I might have to re-up that subscription because look, I love Anthony Cumia and I love Chrissy Mayer, but it's not worth $100 just for the two of.
Yeah, I mean Anthony does like 4 shows a week, but yeah, I mean and that's the thing too. It's like The thing about Patreon taking off is, if it's like a comedian you like, and a lot of them are smart. They're like, yeah, we do a show, but if you want a second episode every week, you can give me. It's usually less, like I had never done Patreon, but I signed up for Artie Lang's mostly because he's funny, but also because I just feel like I just whatever I can do to help keep him out of trouble. If $6 a month helps, but it's like it's so and I think that the comics have those different tiers and stuff in terms of how much it is, and it's like that's a direct way that you can support someone, and I think that it's and back to Tim Dillon just sort of crushing on it, and plenty of other guys. I think that maybe you don't want to spend $100 a year for somebody's online streaming network, but then a couple of comics that you do like that have maybe smaller podcasts, you might maybe you do $12 a month or something. Spread it out a little bit. So
I've invested. I bought it like right in the beginning, Compound Media, like when it, back when it was still just the Anthony Cumia show, right? Or the Anthony Cumia, like so I mean,
my thing like that I did was, it's I haven't really listened much in a couple of years, but I bought when before Sirius and XM merged, I bought a lifetime subscription to Sirius in 2005. It was $500. People thought I was crazy, but I figured when they merged with XM, they were going to tell me like, no, this is a new company, your subscription doesn't work anymore. But then it did. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I haven't given them any money since 2005, So, when you can get in on stuff like that, I think it's worth doing. And I think if you listen to, there's great, back to Anthony. There's a lot of like his show alone is enough to. He does 4 shows a week, 2 hours a day, but then there's all the other shows too. So it just sort of depends, and that's sort of the great thing is like. These are things that you pay a little bit extra for in the grand scheme of things, and you can really control the content that you get. Back when it was like, well, you're gonna watch whatever's on Comedy Central and you're gonna like it, or you're not gonna watch anything. So it's great to have as many choices as we do now, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. The one thing that I'm very interested in is the fact that like HBO Max has kind of taken off the way it has, and
speaking of which, has anybody else watched Peacemaker on HBO Max?
Not yet. I can't.
I'm not even remotely like a John Cena fan. I've never really watched wrestling, but that show is so unbelievably funny. It's a spinoff of the most recent Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version, and it's so fucking funny. The first 3 episodes are there. I watched them all last night. It's like everything about it, like it's just got a very like adult comedic sensibility. It does not take itself seriously even remotely, and it's super violent as well. So it's a great. It's like why streaming services were invented. That kind of like content.
So it's everything you want from Book of Boba Fett, but don't get.
Oh yeah, the dances with Tusken Raiders sequence was awesome. Yeah, that was great. I was talking to our friend Will Sterling about this earlier, and he pointed out. So this is his idea. I'm giving credit to him, but that in the 3rd episode of Book of Boba Fett, not a huge spoiler, his new crew is basically Griff and his crew from Back to the Future Part 2. And that there's also they have like a Back to the Future chase sequence in that episode, and it's so underwhelming. And also like Boba Fett, people loved Boba Fett because he barely talked and he just looked so cool and he was this badass bounty hunter. But he's like actually like a super nice guy and very like emotionally complicated, and I'm like.
Yeah,
I didn't want that from Boba Fett. Like I take that from a lot of characters, but he's not the one that I wanted. I didn't want a kinder, gentler Boba Fett.
Well, people think that this is going to be some sort of anti SJW, Disney type of thing, but it's not. But this is the problem with that I've had with Disney Star Wars, which is that they've overly sanitized like a lot of characters, and I think Boba Fett is the perfect example. Like when Book of Boba Fett was first announced, I was kind of like, oh well, I would love like a Sons of Anarchy or like a Breaking Bad type of
Oh my god,
show
yeah.
set in the Star Wars universe. But it's not. But sadly, I don't think it's going to happen
Yeah.
because it's
Well, I
Disney's
think
Star
I
Wars,
think
and
you're right, and the reason why Mandalorian works is that he's a new character, and they were able to kind of shape who he was. We had an expectation for what Boba Fett was,
yeah,
and that's just not really what we're getting. And look, as of yet, we're 3 episodes into an eight or 9 episode series, so maybe there is the big heel turn, as they say, but. I would be surprised if that's where this goes, And when they teased like Book of Boba Fett like a year ago, I thought it was going to be like a Disney Plus movie. This was like 2 hours. I was like, I didn't know it was going to be an ongoing series. So yeah, there's only so many Walter White and Tony Sopranos out there where you have series focused on truly bad people. And I guess that Disney's like, nah, Boba Fett's not so bad. Come on, you know.
I mean, it's not even that he had to be bad. It's just I always like the moral ambiguity of the character. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
He's a bounty hunter. Who's got the most money?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's John Wick in space before John Wick even existed. Although we all know that Keanu is supposedly the nicest guy that you'll ever meet, from what I've heard.
I've heard very nice things about Keanu, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that. So we went down a Boba Fett rabbit hole,
We
but oh yeah, I did bring up Peacemaker. I think I did that.
and I saw your tweet about how Peacemaker can't be any worse than Boba Fett. That was
Oh,
what.
I said 3 episodes in, Peacemaker is greater than Book of Boba Fett, which is not what I would have expected.
Yeah.
They both have 3 episodes, and one of them is amazingly entertaining, like almost every minute of the show, and the other one is Boba Fett.
I mean, I don't blame John Cena for leaving WWE though. That's like the worst.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's just it's done.
他领导性话话 John Cena 话声光的话，他声光的话
Yeah.
听话的
Yep.
John Cena 话听
Yep.
话。I am sorry that I said fucking Taiwan is a country. Fuck you, you're East Taiwan, you fucking Chinese pieces of shit.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
that
Burn
is
in
very
hell. I'm
true.
sorry.
That's very true.
You
Yeah,
know,
no, I mean,
yeah, like everybody saw, like look, everybody saw what Dwayne Johnson did, and John Cena's like, yeah, I don't even have to do that, but like that's really the approach I should take, is just try and be more like DJ,
Yeah.
I mean, WWE's become incredibly bad too. It's like when you like and when
Bro.
John Cena left, he left. Really, he was kind of like boo. He was like it was like a mix of cheers and boos or whatever.
Listen,
And it was
man.
like once he came back, he was getting cheered. And why? Because the product got so bad that they were pretty much begging for him to play any role at all whatsoever.
Hold on. When the World Wrestling Federation cucked to the World Wildlife Federation, check the fuck out. I'm pretty sure it was like 15 years, 12, 13. I don't even know. That was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, but
I
you know
mean,
what? You know what my
WWF
takeaway was from that? Don't fuck with pandas, all right? Because they even took down Vince McMahon. That's how hardcore the
exactly.
pandas are.
Yeah, the PETA, they
Yeah,
are global, man.
the U.S. government couldn't even take down Vince McMahon, but fuck with a bunch of pandas. Yeah, that dude's going down.
Is that early days of the internet?
Mm-hmm.
Was it not? Is that not when that happened? Or am I
No,
misrepresenting?
no, you're right. I just remember still the greatest thing from my childhood was watching then billionaire and real estate developer Donald Trump beat the crap out of Vince McMahon on national TV, which makes me feel old.
Which got turned into a meme, right?
Yeah.
The CNN meme? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which got turned into a meme, which then led to that same meme being blackmailed by CNN, supposedly.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that. No, CNN straight up doxed that dude.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was in like 2015?
Yeah.
That was before he was president.
Yeah, that was like
holy shit.
Yeah, and that was back when he was like a joke candidate too.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah,
Guess what, you fucking nerds? In chat, I'm gonna eat some beef jerky on mic. I haven't eaten on mic in a while.
Nice.
Sorry, guys. I'm gonna do that.
Really? So you're doing ASMR
on your birthday stream?
No, it's his birthday gift to you, Sam. A little ASMR.
Do we need to?
You know what? I'm gonna eat the fucking the oxygen absorber packet on mic and then die. You know what I mean? I'll just hold the mic to my mouth while I die, chewing on this fucking thing that I'm not supposed to eat.
Well, don't do that. I don't need.
I'm just kidding, man.
I don't need a suicide. On there.
No, come on, man. I would have my fucking camera on if I were doing that. I would want to leave something to the world.
I got to make sure you get the views.
But maybe I feel good though because I'm getting ASMR. Usually that stuff is reserved for OnlyFans. So
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
the ultimate way of directly delivering content to people, it's you really cut out a lot of the other stuff. It's like, it's like girls are like, you want to see me naked? Great, just give me money. And I'm like, all right, perfect. What could be wrong with that? It's I know people who do quite well on it, and they're not even like the stuff they do isn't even super explicit.
That's I do too, actually.
Yeah.
There's a young gal called Kiwi, and I don't even know how I ran across her on Twitter, but she drives like fucking $200,000 cars.
Nice.
She's like 5'2", skinny as shit, and she has a free OnlyFans. She's some kind of model, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I again, like most things, I don't look into it at all, but she's in my timeline. And I don't know, man. Like it's a new world, I guess. But damn it, I was told that threw me off. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, look, we're talking about and I'm gonna have to look up Kiwi because obviously just thinking about her seems to have distracted you.
Kiwi,
So
Kiwi the small.
Kiwi the small, nice.
Yeah, like small, like the meme talk SMLL. Small.
Yeah. So, Sam, I heard you saying before some of the things you were going to do for your birthday. So you haven't seen Spider-Man yet, but you're going to go see it.
I haven't seen it yet, but thanks to Emergency Awesome, motherfucker, I already know all the spoilers because of your thumbnail.
Well, what I'll say is, like, at this point, if you get it spoiled like a month after it came out, it's a little bit on you. But I think that I was surprised at how, like, people I knew who saw it like a couple weeks after it came out and it hadn't been spoiled. But yeah, I mean, I've seen like T-shirts for sale now that are basically, if you wear it, you're a walking spoiler for like the coolest thing about the movie. Right. And it's like, oh, do you want to be that guy? Because it's like there might be people who still don't know. So
well, and to be fair, I mean it has been a month. I'm one of those people that I'll see a movie even if it has been spoiled for me, and I'll still also enjoy. Like the
Me
fact
too. Yeah, I don't care about spoilers really, honestly,
the fact
because
that
most people can't articulate a good movie, a good story, especially a movie or TV show. Sopranos is a good example. But aside from that, like no matter how much you know about like spoiler wise about like plot points and shit like that, a good show, a good movie, honestly, I don't think can be ruined by I mean, I guess it can be to a certain extent. Like the
Sure, it can, but
surprise of certain.
you're stressing the important point is that if it's good. So
Yeah.
I saw The Sixth Sense, knowing the spoiler. That is not a good movie if you know he's a ghost the whole time. It's okay, but it's like that's a big reveal, and that's like really cool. But whereas I think like Usual Suspects, if you know he's Kaiser Soze, that's fine. It's still a pretty cool movie. It's I think it just sometimes the big shock, the big surprise. Sometimes it's like, oh, actually, the movie wasn't that great if it weren't for that. So I think there's something to what you're saying. This Spider-Man movie, I think, is if you like Spider-Man movies and superhero shit, it's good even if you know every single thing that happens in it.
I know that I missed that part because I did watch that movie in theaters like a week and a half ago, and I think I mentioned it, Sammy. Uh, last time I was on the show, or one of the times, but recently, and the girl that I've been dating is younger, and she's likes that Marvel shit, and it's whatever. I don't mind going to movies.
No, you have to, but
these-
you have to be in on that stuff to enjoy it. I mean, it's
Sure.
like Avengers
I mean,
Endgame. It's like, did you like the 22 movies that came before it? Because if you didn't, you're not going to be that excited by it.
That's the
Yeah.
thing is like I went to Black Widow, the most recent. We went to Black Widow, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this goddamn movie? Because I don't watch the Marvel movies. I don't give a shit about the Marvel universe. I really don't. The MCU does not mean a goddamn thing to me because they're not good movies. They're just spectacle. I can watch if I can watch them one off. Just sit down and watch one movie and be entertained without going, God damn it, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Then I'm good with that. And Endgame, I was able to watch that and still get enough of it that I somewhat enjoyed it, but it's still like I don't want to watch all these fucking movies, dude. I don't. But No Way Home is one of the best movies I've seen in theater. I watched Dune in theaters recently, which I said, I think if not on this show, then I meant to, was the best cinematic experience I've had in probably over a decade. Just that movie. I've not read the books. I don't know much. I didn't watch the original movie by
David Lynch.
David Lynch, right? But it was so good, man. It's so long. I didn't think about anything but the movie. It was very good. I very much enjoyed it cinematically. I loved it. But the Marvel movies, in my experience, are not. I don't know. What was it?
I feel like you might have just. I think a small part of Christian might have just died.
No,
Right.
look. I mean, I know people that like saw one Star Wars movie and they're like, yeah, it's not from any of the best one. Well, one of the best, whatever. The first one, and it's like if you see it and it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, like people get angry that like and Sam's heard me talk about this. That I was just like, no, I've never watched Game of Thrones. I don't like hobbits and dragons and shit. It might be, I might even. It's just I'm just not into it. It's just not my thing. It doesn't mean that no one else is allowed to like it, but it's like, and we sort of live in that. I mean, it's sort of like, people think politics is polarizing, but pop culture, it's like, well, how can you not watch this thing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just not into it.
Well, Game of Thrones was like okay, they have dragons, they have cool shit like dragons and White Walkers, but you also have to see the floppy wieners and incest. Like there's a deal that you have to make there.
Well, yeah, but for me, I just want the cuts of just the floppy wieners all put together. I
Okay.
don't want anything else. That's
Yeah.
why I don't want the dragons, unless they're
I mean,
floppy
who-
dragon wieners. But yeah, it's. But you're right, and it's just like people take it personally when you're like, oh, like. And look, if you work on a show and somebody tells you you hate it, well, yeah, maybe that you feel shitty. It's like, wow, I've spent like, my whole life working on this thing. But it's like if you watch something that you like and somebody else actually watches it and they don't like it, it's like, all right, so can you not be friends with that person? I mean, and I don't
Bro.
know. It's like,
Guys, hold on. I just had a wild realization. I'm going to preface this with The Sopranos, which Sammy and anybody that listens knows that I just recently watched the entirety of for the first time from start to finish, which is around 85 hours
Oh.
of
Yeah.
content, right? The entirety of the MCU in the movies, as far as movies goes, is 50 hours and 35 minutes. And I brought this up. The only reason I Googled this was to go, I'm not going to fucking go through all these hours of, of these movies and shit to, catch up on this. And I mean, I guess the difference is The Sopranos is one thing. It's one story.
Yeah.
It's all contained in one thing. Whereas the MCU is all these other movies, characters, blah, 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 blah. I'm actually kind of lost my point because I thought it
No,
was
but you're saying
I
it's
thought
like,
it was a lot more hours.
The Sopranos is more hours, but it's obviously one of, if not the best
it's
show
it's
ever.
a significant
has to
time
be.
investment. It's a significant time
Well,
investment.
right, but
It
Time
depends on
because
how do you personally want to invest your time. I don't want to invest my time in Game of Thrones, and
I'd rather
it's my time.
I'd rather invest. You're right. I'd rather invest my time doing blow smoking hookers than
smoking
Yeah,
hookers. Hell yeah.
blow
let's
smoke
go. Let's
if I
light
blow
them up.
smoking hookers. Let's do it. Let's go, man.
Yeah, I
Look,
mean that's really that streaming services are for people that don't spend their time doing those things, because it's like, well, why don't you watch all this? But yeah, it's like, it's like, you want to watch all like 24 seasons of Law and Order SVU. If you love that show, great, but that's a lot to fucking watch of anything. You want to watch every episode of Hee Haw, it just depends on what you like. There's a lot there's so much stuff out there. And like, does somebody want to keep current on 32 seasons of The Simpsons, or did you fall off after like 9 like most people?
Yeah.
Yeah, to back up a little bit, I feel like we have so much choice of good content, especially TV-wise, thanks to The Sopranos.
Oh.
Everybody.
I don't understand how people like hate watch series. I can see watching a movie that you think is going to be terrible and enjoying that. That's sort of the Mystery Science Theater effect. But people who like that show Girls that was on HBO for a while, the Lena Dunham show.
Oh my
the
God.
people that I knew who watched it all hated it, and I'm like, why do you watch it then? It's like I don't have enough time to watch the stuff I really, really want to watch. So no, I don't have time to watch the stuff that I think I would hate.
There's something weird going on in the human psychology there, because I have done that. I have ignored the things that I enjoy to watch and categorize and catalog the things that I hate. I've literally, it's documented. I've done that. That's how I met Sam.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Wait, you guys met hate watching something?
No, well, the Owen Benjamin thing. I started on a shitty, just like I was a tacit viewer of the man, if you could call him that. And Owen was a part of it, or I'm sorry, Sammy was a part of an elite crew that helped bring Owen Benjamin to his current state.
Which by the way, Christian Paul P. was in that club too. So another person that another person that doesn't like either of us.
Yeah, no, he never.
Anyway,
he
yeah, no.
never
So
liked
I
me,
was
yeah.
just randomly making videos about this fucking idiot, and this elite group was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And then I met this crippled boy wonder here, and
There's something to when you're going so far as to generating content because you hate something. There, doing shows about hate watching, or there's like I think it's a podcast about reading celebrity memoirs, and they're all terrible. So obviously, you're doing it for a reason. But yeah, I mean, look, if that's if you enjoy watching stuff that is terrible more than watching, something that's great, that's fine. I just mean for me personally, I don't
well,
have
hold
the
on,
time for that.
hold on. I'm glad you said that because I do need to clarify a little bit. It wasn't like a hate watching thing. I found Owen, this caricature, I was not an internet person. It just found him tacitly. It handed up on my YouTube feed, so I started watching him, and I would listen to him as I did work around the house, the yard, whatever. He ex Hollywood guy that talked about the failings of Hollywood and being a real dude, living in the country, raising a family, blah 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 blah, all this other shit. Very many, a great number of valuable things that people need to learn. Which is the hard part. But he, over time, just again tacitly listening to him, noticing the danger of the shit that he's talking about because a lot of ego came into it. It wasn't about you do you. It was about crushing dissent of all sorts. And there's this whole gummy thing, blaming a certain couple of individuals of sending him poisonous gummies to poison him and his family that I happened to see live, or hear live rather. And there was I just felt an urge to point it out. It wasn't like a hate watching thing. I felt like an actual drive to point out something wrong that I saw. Like this dude, as many things as he says good, he's probably leading you the wrong way because there's ego involved more than he will admit. I don't know. It's very long and very, very well worn path, but yeah.
I think to sum his character up, I think he's one of these people. He might have left Hollywood, but Hollywood never left him, so to speak. I mean, that is one thing I do want to ask. That I've wanted to ask Christian for a while. I'm not asking for specifics, but
12 inches
is working well. Well, come on, we all knew that, but
no, well, sorry.
No, the question is, I mean, you've been in Hollywood for a while, and as far as egos go, are there certain people who you've worked with and you're like, yeah, they're really egotistical and they have major problems, or
the surprising thing is that it's a good way to use this microcosm would be like when I interned at Saturday Night Live was in 1998, so it's like a very specific cast. Probably the biggest, most successful person to come out of that era is Will Ferrell, who at least in 1998, literally one of the nicest people you could ever be around. He was a very sweet, very kind person. And a lot of people don't remember Chris Kattan, but he was an
Corky
asshole
Romano.
and full of himself. Yeah, Corky Romano, and he was such a dick. And a lot of times the ego and arrogance is not the people that look. There's people that are brilliant, and then sometimes you're like, all right, I guess this, it's like. You just in your head think of like your favorite musician, favorite actor, and you're like, they're so good. And then if you met them and they were dick, like, yeah, but they're so good, I guess maybe it went to their head or whatever,
Yeah.
and that's usually not the case. a lot of times those do tend to be really nice people. It is people who maybe it's a defense mechanism for subpar talent that some people just get carried away with it. And yeah, I mean, you definitely run into people where ego is a problem. And I think a lot of people, it's insecurities, I mean, if you work with comedians like I did a lot of them are just incredibly insecure people, and it's just sort of the way that they handle it is, to kind of, to sort of be a dick, but I'd say for the most part, people are a lot nicer than you expect them to be. But like there's people who like, a good example is Dennis Miller, who's like on camera persona was always bit, like on camera he'd always be a little bit of a prick and always a smart ass, but in real life he's not actually like that at all. David Spade is someone that I didn't know as well, but anytime I've ever been around him, he was also very nice. He's very sardonic, sort of, in terms of comedy. So, and then Norm Macdonald we did a whole show about him. He was a fucking genius, but he was also smart enough to have this wonderful woman named Lori Jo Hoekstra who worked for him, who was probably one of the nicest people on the planet. So him being a little rough around the edges was offset by how nice Lori Jo was. So he's smart enough to know that, at least.
I did want to bring something up about Norm that I didn't get a chance to bring up last time, but the one thing that I found funny was the fact that Ann Coulter, who is also known for being rough around the edges, to put it politely, I've never seen Ann Coulter talk dirty before, or I've never heard her flirt, but the one time that she did appear on Dennis's show when Norm was hosting, I couldn't stop laughing because she was basically hitting on Norm the entire time.
God, yeah. Yes, that is a high point. One of the high points of doing that show, and it was a day that Dennis wasn't there, but Norm was, and yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, I mean, Anne's a very interesting person because we were talking about pro wrestling before. She's somebody who understands. It's like, well, if I say this thing that outrages people, it'll help me sell my book, and if I say this thing that will surprise the people who support me. When she was really hard on Trump about the wall and all this stuff, it was it was just like being pro-Trump wasn't going to help her brand, at least in her mind. So she was like, all right, I'll just go the other way. And I don't know, she hasn't had a book out in a little while, so I usually feel like I understand what Anne's doing, but I don't quite know what it is at the moment. But yeah, but she was one of the first people that I ever saw that didn't go anywhere without a bodyguard, because she's such a target, and obviously there's the scary ways that public figures need to keep themselves safe, but just conversationally, somebody sees somebody like her, they probably are like, oh, I'm going to give her a piece of my mind. No, you're not. This huge dude who goes everywhere with her is not going to let you get anywhere near her, so yeah. She was one of my
she's like the heel professional wrestler.
Totally, 100%, and really like one of my very few like name droppy moments was I guess it was CPAC in 2008. I was out at an event with Anne and Andrew Breitbart were both there, and it was like and let's just say she'd had a couple too many, but she was very funny and incredibly likable. I had talked to her on the phone before, but I'd never actually been around her. So she's somebody that you might imagine you meet her and she's an asshole. But my sister, who lived in DC at the time, was with me, and she interned for Chuck Schumer of all people. And it wasn't like Ann couldn't talk to her. You know what I mean? It was like the fact that the politics would have been so far apart didn't mean she couldn't talk to my sister. So I don't know. I think that So, I think more people will surprise you in the way like that than surprise you in the way of like, oh man, I really wish this person wasn't an asshole. But maybe I also haven't met enough people to answer that question.
Well, I mean, you've met, you've met. I mean, I don't want to name drop the entire art of people that I know you've met, but one, specifically that someone that an in real life friend of mine actually mentioned. He was like, "Wait a minute, you know someone who's met Gene Simmons?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well,
Yeah, Gene's definitely somebody who would fall into the ego category because he's got a lot of reason to be full of himself. He's been successful,
Yeah.
Beyond even his wildest estimations. But I think to some extent it's a bit of an act. I'm sure if you like work with Gene, maybe you really get to see all of it. I've only ever dealt with him as a guest on a podcast or a radio show, and I've been in the same room as him, and he was very nice in that setting. He signed something for me, and that's all I needed. So, but yeah, I look, I could imagine that if you really got to spend time with Gene, maybe he's a bit of a dick, but that my interaction with him was not that. So,
did he sign your wife? That's the question.
oh, she wasn't there. No. I don't bring my wife around the rock stars. I mean,
Well,
my wife did meet Alice Cooper with me, but we've been married to the same woman since
yeah,
like the late
Good
70s, and
news.
he's born again, and his father was a preacher, so I didn't worry about Alice Cooper getting too close to my wife.
that's probably yeah, that's probably a good idea. So
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy, I'm not gonna say happy birthday because it's not your birthday yet, and I will be on stream with you, ideally on your birthday, and I can tell you then. But I will say thank you both to Christian and Phil for coming on. But I have to go. Unfortunately, I have a guest. I gotta get
okay.
out of here.
All right.
All right.
Feel
All right.
I
feel
love you
free.
guys.
All right.
Chat, have a good one, Sammy. You handsome crippled piece of shit. Have a good weekend. Phil, good to talk to you again. And Christian, you
Likewise,
as
man.
well, man. Haven't talked to you in a while. You guys have
Yeah, it's
a
good to
good
chat
rest
with
of
you.
the
Thanks
show.
for
And
yeah.
chat, thanks for coming in. Yeah, again.
Well,
Good night.
I love you too, you predator-looking alien fuck.
Fuck you. Good night, guys.
Yeah. So he's in the Midwest, so that means it's almost midnight, and he has company now. So he's talking booty call, right? Is that what we should take away from this?
That's probably
Yes.
that's high. I'd put my money on that one.
Yes, at least he didn't do her on stream this time with the
Well, I don't know. Wouldn't that have been a great birthday gift to you, Sam, if he let you listen? And he asked her like, no, call me Sammy. It's for him.
listen, I'm not so sure that I might enjoy that. The audience might enjoy that. I'm not so then I might actually have to contact Anthony and be like, listen, my show got banned off YouTube entirely. Can I get a spot on Compound?
On Compound. But apart from Spider-Man, what else are the big birthday plans, Sam? I forgot that tonight's not actually your birthday, but I know it's coming up. So it's Mondays or the actual day?
Yeah, Monday's my actual day. Usually I like to go out to a couple bars on my birthday, but the thing of it is even in Florida, some places are kind of I mean, they're open, but just with Omicron and everything. Here's the thing. I might not be into getting vaccinated, but the truth of the matter is I'm still careful, and I think everyone should be. So, restaurants aren't open like they used to be. So,
Oh.
I don't know. And plus, I mean, even though Monday is a holiday, it's still a Monday. So,
Right. Yeah.
You know,
So what you're trying to say, Sam, is that you're a little bit careful. So you'll go to the strip club, but you won't eat at the buffet at the strip club, right?
that is correct. That is correct.
Smart. Yeah. You got to draw the line. It's all about figuring out what you're comfortable with. Now, I know people that are okay to go to outside concerts. They don't want to go to like small clubs, and having gone to some small clubs, they can be a little cramped. I get it. In this day and age. But yeah, the strip club buffet is usually where we should all draw the line.
Yeah, well, and I especially, I haven't gotten Coltrane's recommendations for that. So he would be the expert.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he knows where's good down.
That
are you in? Are you in? Because I mean, you're in Florida, and
Yeah,
all I know is that like Tampa is apparently the place to go.
Yeah, I'm near Tampa. No, Liev would probably be the person to ask.
Yeah.
Although
he's not a big strip club guy, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know.
I also know that Liev is a good boy now, supposedly.
I mean, he got engaged. Let's put it that way. But
well, I'll be in Vegas on Wednesday, so
nice.
That'll be. Yeah, I'll probably hit up a few.
Yeah, I was. It's funny. I was in Vegas back in the middle of November, and I went to meet up with my dad and his wife. I hadn't seen them in a while, and I did some stuff on my own. So my wife and the kids stayed at home. So I was like, I considered going to a strip club, and I wasn't as worried about COVID as I was about being told that there was a $30 cover charge, and I was like, nah, that's not worth it.
Yeah, because there's some of those strip clubs now are just if you get a song dance or whatever, or a private dance, it's like a fucking air dance. Like nobody's grinding on your shit or anything. Like it's just like, what the fuck is this? I'm basically paying $20 for you to shake your ass in front of me. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, no, it's like a Catholic school lap dance. It's you got to leave room for the Holy Ghost, So
the other thing is, down here you have to be careful because it might not be the 80s anymore, but Vice still does exist down here in Florida. So.
Oh yeah, so if you're trying to if you go to a strip club and you're trying to pay a little, let's just say pay a little extra for for some personal treatment, then you could end up on the evening news.
I'm not even saying that any of us would have to be the ones doing that. I'm just saying that we would have to be in the vicinity of people trying to do that, and we would still get picked up, possibly.
You don't want to get rounded up, yeah. So it'll be a little bit more of a subdued birthday celebration, is what it sounds like, Sam.
Yeah, and then obviously I'm probably gonna come on here again, so. And maybe do an.
So you're gonna do a birthday stream on Monday, and I think it's great that a lot of people are off from work and schools and things are closed on Monday, and in a way to honor Sam Whitfield's birthday. I think that it's befitting of a great man like you.
That is exactly the comparison that I was going for.
When you come on Monday, you why don't you tell us about how you had a dream, and you tell us what your dream was.
I think that we should have a national Norm Macdonald Day at some point.
Oh my God, what a great day that would be!
Even though he was Canadian,
It's true. So, great point.
And I also think, even though. Ironically, I think he would be against. I think someone propose National Dennis Miller Day to me.
Yeah.
And
no one would hate that more than Dennis Miller, but it would be nice to have a moment. Yeah, I was supposed to try and have lunch with him before he goes on a big trip, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to break quarantine to go have a celebrity lunch. So I guess I'll have to see him later in the year.
Yeah.
But yeah. So well, that sounds like it'll be fun. I mean, look, you gotta save up for 3 more years when you turn 30. That'll be the big throwdown that you
Yeah.
do, Sam.
Well, someone else said, 27. A lot of celebrities die around 27.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Like-
well, okay. I'm not. First off, I'm not a. I mean, I'm maybe a D-list celebrity. E-list.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. You're easily Jim Morrison or Kurt Cobain. Come on, I mean, what Janis Joplin's in that club too, right? The 27 Club.
Minus the well, I haven't done enough blow yet to be
New Year's resolution. It's not too late.
well, and it is Florida, so who knows?
Yeah.
What was on the back of Kurt Cobain's mind when he killed himself?
Who's to say that Courtney Love wasn't in the room when that happened?
The answer we're looking for is his teeth.
Oh God!
I wasn't quite sure where you were going, but I wanted to let you go there. I thought you were going to point out that the back of his mind was actually on the wall, but that works too. That's all.
That would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely work as well.
Oh yeah, there was a documentary about a guy who was convinced that Courtney Love had Kurt Cobain killed. But I think if you've ever seen like Courtney Love talk, it's like it doesn't strike me as somebody that has it together enough to have had anybody, killed. But yeah.
She once said that Ted Nugent molested her. And I did the math, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that that didn't happen because Ted's like 30 years older than her, and the math just doesn't add up. I don't think she was even born during the time that she claims that Ted killed her.
I don't think I ever heard that, but I don't know. You hear a lot of things about Uncle Ted, but stuff like that is usually like you don't hear that, and like he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. I mean, it's it's a lot of like venison related stories, but. Yeah, I mean it's Ted's a good example of somebody whose whose outlook on the world has people discount like his guitar playing, which it's like if you listen to him you're like, well, no, he's great. Like you can think he's an asshole, you can not agree with what he says, but it's like he's still great at what he does, so but I don't know. I mean, Courtney Love seems like a fairly broken individual. I'm sure that there's a lot of I'm sure that we could write without ever having read any facts, we could probably all give bullet points and come up with a pretty accurate Courtney Love backstory, how she got to where she is. And I don't know, she's apparently I mean, I think that she's probably still alive because she gets all of her dead husband's royalties, but she didn't really do anything anymore, as far as I can tell,
She hasn't for quite a while. On the other hand, though, you have Sting who just turned 70, and he is still out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was doing a Vegas residency either at the end of last year or early this year. Yeah, I mean, he's, it seems like that's kind of a sweet way for people that are, when you slow down a little bit, you don't want the hassle of touring, just do like 20 shows in Vegas and then, hang out for a little while and then do another 20 shows in Vegas later in the year, That's seems like a good way to do it, but that's the guy who figured it out a long time ago is Parrot Top. He's like only really played in Vegas for like 20 years now. You know, I mean, I think he does a couple. You don't have to think he's brilliant. I've heard interviews with him. He seems like he's actually kind of funny, but it's like, yeah, you just sort of figure out like, yeah, why should I work that hard? Like, let people come to me and I'll do the same show and whatever, you know. But I don't know. That's we'll get you set up for your Vegas residency, maybe in your mid-30s, Sam. Let you sow your wild oats a little bit before you go out there.
Well, hopefully my Vegas residency won't be called box office poison.
The Carrot Top movie. Yeah, that's that great the Norm clip on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Yeah, with Courtney Thorne Smith. I think we talked about that when we did the Norm show. Yeah,
someone asked me to do like celebrity impressions, and the only two ones I can do are 80s Dennis and then Norm. And
80s Dennis.
And those are on a good day. I almost called into the old radio show as 80s Dennis, but then I was like, well, who else could do that but Harvey? I don't think it would have gone over quite as well as Harvey was able to do it.
I don't know. I used to like doing impersonations, largely because I used to crank call when I was a little kid. Like that was my in, right? I was the guy. As a little kid, I used to look up apartment listings in the newspaper, and I'd call them, and I'd just I'd use the gay voice. It'd be like, yes, hello, do you have an empty bed? Yes, now what about the walls? Are the walls thin? Because I like to make noises when and sometimes I'd get laughs, sometimes I get hung up on, sometimes it'd be like I'm sorry, we don't there was one time it was like I don't accept your kind. I'm like, I was taken back by it, but like it was funny. It was so funny. I'd be like, and he'd be like, well, I'm gonna have my boyfriend here every now and again. So what do you think? Can we just do this contract now or what? You get it's crazy how many fucked up responses you get. But it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently I think Christian got moved to the other room.
Yeah, no, I have a new laptop and I forgot I use PCs and it's an HP, and I forgot that if you touch the browser you accidentally can close it very easily. So sorry about that.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry about that. But you were talking about you were doing you have impressions of Norm and Dennis, and 80s Dennis is a very specific impression. That's the one that Dana Carvey did on the show, which is great. I
can do Norm on occasion, and I hear he said he wasn't too good with the ladies, but it seemed to me like he did okay in that department.
Like, he allegedly, this is just rumor that I heard from no one except for long before I ever even interned or anything, but he allegedly had sex with Elle Macpherson, and he was a handsome for a comedian, but that's one of those ones where you're just like, good for you, buddy, if that's true.
You're right. You're actually not the first person I've heard that rumor from.
Well, she hosted SNL, so it's very easy to understand how it could have happened.
Yeah.
Whether it did or not, I don't know. but I like to hope that it did for
Yeah, for his sake.
Yeah. Anyway, Sammy, I'm sorry that I clicked off before. I'm gonna hang out for a few more minutes, but I am going to go soon. But also, I feel like we're not not letting Phil talk nearly enough. So I'm sorry.
No, it's good. And if you need to run, by all means, just let me know so
Yeah.
I can.
No, I'll go in a couple minutes. I'm just sort of giving you the heads up. You know,
I
I,
can-
and it's not as interesting as Apex leaving because some lady showed up probably greased up and ready to go.
Like, are you getting laid too? It's like, no, I'm very tired. It's time.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I mean,
I'm just trying to,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I'll go upstairs and my wife will already have fallen asleep, and
he
that would
just
be the only way that I would get some tonight is if she's already asleep. So
he just needs to I mean, he's been tired. He chased Arnold through the jungle for the 150th time. So
yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, so hopefully you'll be having Aaron Berg on the Black.
Yeah, it seems like Aaron Berg will come on. I had wanted to ask him for a while, and also when I was going to be in studio with Don Jameson, Aaron and Gino shows after his, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll see Aaron. And I was just sort of like thinking of an excuse to have him on, but if he's like looking to do promotion, I was like, oh, I'll nudge you guys to be the ones to suggest it, and then he's like. He said that, well, I love Christian Dimsey. I'll set it up, and I'm like, great, that's me.
Yeah.
So that was a nice way to start my weekend after, really not like the best week or so.
Yeah, it's kind of been this week has been off for everyone, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I detailed on my podcast how, I was supposed to be in New York, and I got as far as my connecting flight in Phoenix when I got a series of texts from my wife that, first turned out her mother-in-law had tested positive for COVID, and then each of our kids did. So that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to take this flight to Newark from Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm going to rent a car and drive 6 hours to Phoenix, but God damn it, I'm stopping at Waffle House first. I'm getting something out of this trip.
Wait, at least you got Waffle House.
Right?
It could have been worse.
No, and I think that eating at the Waffle House cleaned out my system, and I think that maybe anybody who doesn't feel comfortable getting vaccinated, they should eat at Waffle House on the regular, and it will keep them regular, and it'll keep their immune system very strong.
Oh yeah, well that and horse dewormer,
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you're comfortable taking. I mean, isn't Angel Dust a horse tranquilizer? And I mean, yeah, I've been self-medicating with that for a long time. So
yeah, I've been doing that since before COVID.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's like I don't know what everybody's talking about. I take horse medicine all the time.
So yeah.
But Phil, your name is Phil, right? You're not just from Philly, or
no, it's Phil. Yep.
Okay.
Guilty charged.
Yeah. So you were talking. So, but you were trying to go to. Were you trying to go to the Eagles game that's coming up against the Bucks, or that was just
no. That Eagles game was the home opener because I'm a 49er.
Okay.
I'm a 49er fan. So that
gotcha.
The home opener was but it's in Philly. So like that was when they sent me, like, we bought the tickets. They sent us the email of going, hey, we got COVID restrictions. You're going to need to do da-da-da-da-da. And then we get to the game and it's like, nobody's checking anything. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is like some places you go and they check and there's this long backup of people waiting to check. And then there's other times where they don't even need to see it. And then there's like, they don't check, like, it's so that because I do have the Vax card. I just have a picture of it on my phone. However, I've almost never had to show my ID that matches the card. So you just have a picture of someone's card and show it, and they're like, that's fine. Because the people who work at these places, they're like, they don't want the hassle.
No, these are
don't-
kids. These are kids that maybe make $10 an hour. You're asking them to check every fucking person for their vaccination status. Like, dude, fuck my life, man.
No, exactly. And I think that's what it really comes down to. It's like, we're not going to work that hard to do this, So,
Christian, do you still do Biden time by chance?
I haven't done it in a little while, but that had nothing to do with him. That was I just took some time off for the end of the year, like I always do, and then because I was going to be traveling. But no, I the way that show has worked, it's been hard to piece together the schedules of both of my co-hosts and stuff. But I very much still want to have you on, but I want you to be on with both of my co-hosts. Yeah, and I have not done very many shows with both of them. In a while. And I've had like a Jason Blair, who was a fan of the Dennis Miller show. He's been on the Blackcast. We had him on one time. We've had a couple of people on. In the earliest incarnation of it, we even had Michael Haslam on at one point. But
I remember that.
Yeah. But he's just, we've talked about Haslam. I think that he's just in the business of selling houses, and he doesn't. He's not in the political business at all. And I if I was selling houses in Orange County, California, I would really put all my energy on that too.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't imagine the commissions he brings in on some of those houses. So, but I very much want to still have you on. We just haven't done it in a while. The Marvel show that I do, which obviously we should have Apex Gam on to talk about how much he hates all the movies. But the Marvel show that I do, it's easy to record ahead of time and just sort of dole it out. But that being a political show, we kind of always have to do it live, or every once in a while I've like recorded it the night before, but usually it's just like got to be what's going on. But no, it's I've wanted it, and I haven't forgotten. I want you to be on that show. I just wanted, if it's you and me. We did it one time where it was just you and I, right? Yeah, and that's fun. But like, I want to have you on with them, because I think that's what leads to more fun conversations,
Well, because I mean, here's kind of where I'm at in terms of the vaccination thing. I think, I don't even know if you guys are still on when this interview came out, but Hugh Hewitt did an interview with Fauci and basically said, a study came out that a lot of people aren't getting the vax because they don't trust you, Dr. Fauci. So do you think that more people would get the vax if you were to step down? And Fauci more or less flipped out on him. And I've kind of been saying that for a while, but look, I think a lot more people would get the vaccine if it weren't so politicized, specifically by.
No, I think that's true, and I've also thought that if Trump were still president, the people not getting vaccinated would just be a different group of people. There would have been like, oh, I don't trust it. Because who the leadership is. I think that's probably something that would have happened there. But I think that it is very politicized, and I didn't hear that interview, but I know that it happened. And the thing that I would say is, for even showing up, Fauci going on Hewitt's show, I mean, there's something to be said for that, at least that he actually went on that show. And, I think that's the sort of thing that there's just not enough of. It's like, it's like, you don't need to go and convince people who are already vaccinated to get vaccinated. You go on a show where people aren't, and that was it Sanjay Gupta who was on with Rogan where he
Yeah.
took him to, yeah, and that's another one where like, yeah, but he went there and he actually appeared on a show. He did that, and I think that it's like, if even when it goes badly, and that I don't think that went particularly badly.
No.
I think it was just he got asked some tough questions, but they had mostly a good conversation. I think that that's the sort of thing where you just there's not enough of people going on with, look, there's people who disagree with you that it's very hard to have a conversation with, and then there's other people like you can go on Hugh Hewitt's show as long as you stay calm. I think that more people should do that, and I didn't hear it, but I know that Trump was on NPR recently, but I understood that he hung up on the interviewer, so I was like, all right, well, I don't know what happened, but it clearly didn't end well.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing that's like, yeah, I mean, if you want to make your point, you should try and make it to people who aren't predisposed to agreeing with you, And it was like, to think way, way back when we were first doing Dennis's show, in 2008, I actually like reached out and I tried to have Hillary on because why not? And this is early on in the process before it seemed like Obama was going to clearly be the nominee. But it was just like, yeah, but why do you want to do interviews for people who already agree with you? Why don't you reach out and talk to people who you might convince? I mean, it's like, George W. Bush going on Letterman. Letterman didn't seem to particularly like him, but it's like, yeah, but you go on that show. I mean, those shows had more reach back then, but I don't know. I think it's almost like how you can't tell somebody that you don't like Game of Thrones. It's like you don't want to you don't want to go on a show of people that don't agree with you. But if you believe in your message and you're Fauci, go on Hugh Hewitt's show, and maybe the end result isn't what you get, but I don't know. That's just what I think. But anyway, that's why when I envisioned doing a political show for what was AfterBuzz TV at that point, was I wanted people with very different political opinions, but the whole goal was just no shouting. We'll take the time. We'll talk about everything, and just don't yell over each other, and it'll be fine. And it was very hard to find conservatives who would appear on camera in studio in Los Angeles. We didn't really do a lot of stuff we didn't even have Zoom, but we didn't really do a lot of Skype stuff, which in hindsight probably would have been better content wise, even if the audio wouldn't have been the same quality. But so yeah, I mean, I like the idea of doing that, and especially when you do a show called Biden Time, which the name is to be a play on words. It's a bit of a joke, but it's you got to talk about like how it's going, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like the first year the Biden presidency has gone probably better than I thought it would. So there's also that.
Yeah,
I don't know what people were expecting.
I mean, it hasn't gotten worse. It hasn't gotten. I will say this: it hasn't gotten any worse than I thought it would go, except for maybe Afghanistan. But that's
yeah, no, that and I think that that could have gone the same way. If any of the last 5 presidents had overseen the actual withdrawal. I think that was a messy situation, and I think that it was definitely like you got to pull the Band-Aid off. It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And I think it shouldn't have been that bad, but I don't know who would have done it and it would have gone well, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I think that like as unfairly as Trump was maligned for COVID, I mean, this White House has had a couple of occasions where they're probably told like, no, we're good, we're past it already, and then it's like, oh no, fuck, you got to give everybody a test now, and everybody gets like 2 tests a week, or I can't even keep track of what it is, but they're like basically giving them away like candy, that
Yeah.
was a joke tweet that I had earlier this week that I think a lot of people liked, which was that in my 2022 remake of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Damone is just going to have a locker filled with COVID rapid tests and I showed a picture of 4 of them because we had like just had some come into the house, which ironically we ended up using like a couple days later.
Yeah.
But it was just sort of like, and schools are giving them away because schools want to keep kids in school, at least even where I live in California. They don't want kids at home learning on computers, because you have plenty of kids who don't have access to those things. You have kids who being at home is much more detrimental to their well-being than being away at school for 5-6 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, it's I think it's very complicated. There's no easy answers, and there's also not as much as in 2020 you couldn't say Trump should have done these 5 things. I mean, you can say it, but that wouldn't have stopped it. That wouldn't have fixed it. You can't say, here's what Biden should have done over the last like 6 months, and we would be any better than we are right now. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know. People talk about the way that how restrictive lockdowns have been in this country, and I'm not even saying that anybody's been wrong about that, but if you just look at what they've done in New Zealand and Australia, where it's like 4 people get sick and it's like, great, now you can't go out of your house for 2 months. I'm like, oh, the point is it could be handled a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think having having school in person for kids now, I think really is where we all need to be as a country. I
agree, and I think that I agree with there's a few different ways to look at it. I do think kids in school is where it should be for sure, and especially because I have kids that are school age. I mean, my daughter's in a private preschool, but I sent my kids back to school in they went to like preschool, private preschool. I sent them back in it was August of 2020, which is a lot earlier than a lot of people that I knew did. But I felt good about it, and I don't regret it. I mean, my kids went until 2 weeks ago without getting sick, and they didn't get sick at school. School was closed when my kids got sick. My kids probably got other kids sick, unfortunately. In the case of my daughter's class, I think that might have happened. And, you feel bad, but as soon as you find out your kid's sick, you don't send them to school. So anyway, my point is that I think figuring out a way to keep schools open, and my son's school is very like, let us know when he tests negative. No, that doesn't have to be in 10 days. That doesn't have to be, because he never had symptoms. I think if he was sick, it would have been different. If he was, if he had a sore throat and he was sneezing, all that stuff. I think that might have been different. But I think I think people would be surprised at some of the schools in Los Angeles, and you have others that I think wouldn't surprise you. Like in Culver City, where I used to work, I know that they went back to remote learning for a few weeks because of the number of positive cases they've had. And I think that what it comes down to, and I've said this on the show Biden Time, and my friend Scott Moore that we do that show with, he does agree that it's what do people in specific states, in specific counties, in specific school districts, what do the parents want? is a majority of them saying like, I'm too scared, I want my kid to learn from home. And by the way, my kid's school district, they offer that independent study if you opt into it. If that's what you want to do, you're not, you're basically in a separate class, and it's, it's a lot of independent study with a little bit of online instruction. But if that's what you prefer, you can do it. And I think having school open is definitely, and you hope that they mean what they say, but even this White House says that that's their goal, is to not have schools closed.
Yeah, I mean, online learning at the college level, which I've done for the past few years, is difficult enough as it is. And that's,
Oh.
and that's, with secondary learning. I was really like, well, how are kids, faring with this in 2020? It had to be difficult, especially for younger kids who it's hard getting small children sit still for 5 minutes, let alone do an entire lesson plan on the computer. So
Yeah, no, and I know. And then, you complicate the wrinkle when you factor in that in a school district like my son's, the kids wear masks at school. And then in others, parents feel that, in other states and areas that they don't do that, but kids in those districts can choose to. And I think that I think that this goes down to individual parents. What I feel like when, the height of the pandemic, if I was at the park with my kids and they had a mask on, I wouldn't say, oh, don't play with a kid who does not have a mask on. I wouldn't judge kids that don't have them on, and I would like to have thought that people wouldn't, judge me for choosing to have my kids in masks sometimes. And and I see a lot of that is like, people will post like, oh, I saw these kids playing in the park with masks on and I felt so bad for them. But I think the alternative in a lot of cases is their parents are probably only comfortable with them being outside around other kids if they're wearing the masks. And you can argue whether or not it works, but it's almost like putting a helmet on when your kid goes out and rides your bike. When I rode a bike when I was a kid, we never wore helmets.
yeah,
Well, now they wear helmets. I don't know how much they help unless you have a really serious bicycle accident. It probably helps a lot. But in general, if my kid falls off a bike, he wasn't going to land on his head anyway. He's going to still skin his knee or his arm. But you put your kid out there in a helmet because you feel like, all right, he's safer. And a lot of parents that I know who have kids, if they show up for a play date at the park and their kid's wearing a mask, I certainly wouldn't say anything, but I don't judge them. I just feel like that's your comfort level, and hopefully they respect my comfort level. It's a little, now I brought my kids to the park this week. I had them wear masks because they had just been sick.
yeah,
And I was just like, I don't want them getting other kids sick. They had tested negative, but I'm like, it's more like out of respect. I'm doing this for your sake. Or kids running around at this park. I don't want my kids getting them sick, and I don't know. I think that individual choice should be respected more. And I don't know what's right. I just think, like we were saying earlier, when I popped in on the show, was talking to Apex Gamma about this, is like, what's your comfort level? You should do what you're comfortable with. Try and understand that someone else's comfort level might be somewhere else. There's people who are probably they've gotten the booster shot like I did, and then they're probably like, when can I get my 4th booster shot, and the 5th, and the 6th, whatever. Okay, what is it that makes it so that they can get through the day? I don't take like, Xanax or anything like that, but a lot of people do to get through the day, and that's what works for them.
yeah, and I agree. I think doing whatever works for you. I think I think that's good. I think where a lot of people kind of on the uh quote unquote, and I don't even want to say anti-vax because I'm not in that category, but I would say vax cautious are kind of like at what point do at what point is it good enough? Do we need 3 shots? Do we need 5 shots? Do we need 7 shots? How many masks do we need to wear? Do we need to wear 2, 3, 4? I mean, it gets. I mean, I certainly see the argument for getting vaccinated, and that I don't have a problem with. The problem I have is, well, when will it ever be enough? It does need.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to long term be like I would always get a flu shot every year. I know a lot of people who just didn't for a variety of reasons, and I think it'll be, maybe it's not every year, but it'll be something like that. It'll probably be mixed in with your flu shot. Do you want this or do you not want this? And if you don't want this, you might get sick the way that I did, where you didn't feel great, but I mean, I've had the flu and that feels way worse than. And to be fair, I mean, I had this Omicron variant that is very minor.
Right.
I didn't have like April 2020 COVID, so I really don't know what that's like.
Well,
Well,
interestingly enough, it's interesting that you bring up the flu because the last time I had a flu shot was back in high school, and I think I was a sophomore in high school at the time, and I hadn't really gotten a flu shot before then, and it wasn't because I was anti-flu shot. It was just I didn't have that much. But the 1 year I got the flu, but the 1 year I got the flu shot, I also got the flu, and I got it worse than I had, in previous years, and I don't want to say it was because I had the flu shot, but it was kind of like, well,
No, but it's worth asking the question, which
So-
that's frowned upon in this day and age, is asking questions. It's like, oh, what did I do different the year that I got flu really bad?
So-
I got the flu shot. Yeah.
So my whole thing, and this is something that I've mentioned in Biden time chat, because there's the question of, well, why don't people want to get vaxxed? And obviously there are those online who are a little crazy because they're like, well, because the aliens control the vaccine, and 5G and lizard people, and there's that extreme. But then there are people like me who are kind of like, well, I'm not even anti-vaccine, but look, the last time I got a vaccine, I got really sick, and we don't even know what this COVID thing is yet. So until there are a few more vaccines, and until we know more about what this virus actually is, I'm going to keep my 6 feet away from you. I'm going to wear a mask if that's what you want. But, other than that, I'm good. I don't, until we know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think that, it's it's like what makes somebody uncomfortable. Like, I don't need to stand close to somebody, and it's like, even like, where you live in Florida, if somebody were to be in a supermarket shopping and they had a mask on, there's no reason anybody needs to like give them shit for it. You don't know what their story is. You don't know who they have back at home. You don't know if they look after an elderly relative, or they a cancer survivor. You don't know what their story is. And honestly, what the fuck do you care if they wear one? They're not telling you, they're not coming up to you and saying you should put one on when it's not a rule. So what do you care if somebody else does it? If somebody wants to stand 6 feet away or whatever, and that is, I think it's definitely slanted more towards the one side, but you definitely have a lot of like, what difference does it make to you? Like what somebody else is doing, and if the rules are that people don't have to wear masks, you can't get mad when they don't. It's like that's, I mean, for Virginia swore in their new governor today or yesterday. I don't know. It was over the weekend. I forget what day it was. I think it was today. And, Glenn Youngkin is like, well, we don't have a mask mandate anymore in Virginia. It's like, all right, well, those are the rules now. So you just have to deal with it. I mean, what are you going to do?
I think it is. I think what was weird was, back when you couldn't get masks and, people still had to go places. I got someone who said unironically, and I mean, at this point, it's become a meme on the internet. But oh, you're not wearing a mask, so you just want someone's grandma to die or something like that. And there's that reaction, and I think
Yeah.
that's what turns a lot of people. It's like, okay, I wasn't, I was anti-mask before, but if you're gonna keep, if you're gonna take that attitude, it's kind of like the people that ended up voting for Trump, where it's like, okay, I wasn't going to vote for Trump before, but you've gone so far to one side that now I have to vote for Trump.
Yeah,
And
and it goes back to that
Yeah.
Fauci problem that you're talking about. It's like sometimes the messenger is really the problem for the message. It's like when you have a lot of, it's like whether whether you have the right leaning Karen or the left leaning Karen, you have a Karen getting in your face, giving you an opinion. You're probably going to have the opposite opinion of the person who's annoying you.
Yeah.
Whether it's I don't want you to wear this mask, or you should put one on. It's like, well, I kind of want to do the opposite of you. So yeah, I agree. It's I don't know. It's I don't know what's right, and that's what the big takeaway should be from this conversation you and I have had, is it should be about what's right for you. Then also just know, if you live somewhere where there are rules that you disagree with, there's a time and a place to try and burn the place down because of how you feel about the rules, and if you are upset that, I saw that there were protests outside of the Olive Garden in Times Square in New York, having a vax mandate, which I will always say, if you're eating at the Olive Garden in New York City, clearly, vax mandates are not the biggest problem in your life. And this is coming from somebody who loves the breadsticks and the whole deal, but I don't live in New York City anymore.
But yeah, well,
But-
if you're in New York City, why are you stopping at the Olive Garden?
Exactly. Why are you stopping at the Olive Garden? It's one thing to be upset about vax mandates, but it's like, restaurants who, servers, tend to find, wherever you go, servers tend to wear masks. And I think it's just because they come into contact with a lot of people, but also, honestly, if I mentioned the Waffle House earlier, if the server at the Waffle House was wearing a surgical mask like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have seen it and been like, yeah, I would too if I worked here. So
Yeah.
it's whatever. If that's the rules are, and it's like, yeah, sure, it can be silly. We're talking about Vegas earlier. When I was in Vegas in the middle of November, it's like you walk into a casino, they're very strict. You got to wear a mask. But then as soon as you're on the casino floor, everybody's smoking, drinking, eating, and they don't have a mask on. All right, well, what were the rules? All right, just let me know what the rules are when I show up somewhere. I'll follow them and go with it. But I understand people get upset about it, but at some point, somebody is a private business owner and they own a restaurant, and their policy might be wear a mask until you have your food. And it's like, okay, I don't want to eat there because that's their policy. That is also your choice. You don't have to burn the place down because they ask that people who come in, be wearing a mask when they come in. And I don't know. It's easy for me to say because I live somewhere where you do have to wear masks in a lot of places,
Yeah, I mean, and I honestly, I don't think I don't think it's that big of a deal to put a mask on either. I know that there are some people who are like, no, well, I'm not gonna wear the mask and I'm gonna die on that hill. Again, I think it's the whole thing. Like, if you're being an ass, if you're being an ass about it, I'm not gonna wear a mask just out of spite. But if you ask nicely, then okay, I probably will. So,
Right, and a lot of times the person telling you have to put on a mask somewhere, it's like we were talking about the people checking Vax cards. They don't
yeah,
want to be the one to say that you need to do it, but it's their job to say you need to do it. And there's the video of Ricky Schroeder trying to go into the Costco, which is actually like my Costco that I go to, and the guy at the door is just saying like, "You got to wear a mask to come in here," and Ricky Schroeder is saying like, "Well, don't you watch the news? You don't." Yeah, okay, but it's not that guy's fault that the store's policy and the
yeah.
state's policy and the city's policy. It's like just don't go in. It's fine if you don't want to go somewhere that does it, and you're Ricky Schroeder, just don't fucking wear a mask. But don't take it out on somebody who works somewhere,
I'm
and like don't be a dick to the waitress wearing a mask and acting like, oh, I can't hear you. What are you saying? It's all right. Just chill. You can hear her. It's fine. It's not that hard to hear people when they have a mask on.
I'm surprised that Cousin Eddie hasn't commented on
Oh, we
the
haven't heard from him in a while, have we?
on this. He
Randy
was
Quaid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Randy Quaid was like getting to Alex Jones level of Twitter. He was
I mean, I honestly, I think Alex Jones saw Randy Quaid's Twitter and was like, "Whoa, that's what I call crazy."
yeah, yeah. He was one that I was like, first off, I didn't even know that he had a Twitter, but second off, I'm like, wait, is that the oh yeah, that's the Randy Quaid. Wow. He really did leave the microwave on for too long in his brain. Short
Yeah.
circuited.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that we came to anything here, Sam, but I think that it's these are conversations that I think are worth having, and all I can say is that people who post online and they see like usually it's locally, so it's like California has this many positive cases today. It's an increase over of X over yesterday,
yeah.
the highest ever or whatever. So they'll post that and they'll be like, for the love of God, just get vaccinated and wear your masks. And I'm like, all right, well, I got vaccinated, boosted, and there were times where I would wear a surgical mask underneath my flashy, kiss mask or my whatever, cloth mask my mother-in-law made for me, and I still got it. So it's like that doesn't actually solve it. It's like you can try, and I went a long time without getting sick, but at the same time, it's like it didn't stop it. So doesn't fix it necessarily. And I don't know. I mean, look, it's what, going back almost 2 years, the people who were suggesting herd immunity were railroaded for such a barbaric idea. But now that it's so mild, it's almost like now that I had it, I'm like, oh, I can kind of get it. What if everybody not even everybody, but what if a lot of people just get it and then they're over it in a couple of days, and then they don't have to worry about getting sick from it again. And I know you can get it more than once, but it's like at least for a while, we could have a pretty good summer if everybody if what, like 90% of the population just gets it now. And
Yeah.
people are high risk. People are high risk. You should stay home for the winter. Just wait till it's summer. But I don't know. It's just it's not as cut and dried as people tend to think. Just wearing a mask when you go out in public isn't going to stop it from spreading. Could it help? Sure, it could, absolutely. But it didn't help me. Is my point.
No, and I mean I think that's I don't want to say that it's good that you got sick or it's good that people are getting sick who have the vax. I kind of feel like the one thing that is kind of changing is I feel like there. I'm not saying you were one of these people or anyone who I know specifically who are vaxxed like this, but I do know that like on social media again there were a lot of people who were like, well, I got vaxxed, so I'm they did the whole "I'm better than you" type thing. It's like, well, once they got sick, it was kind of like, well, I guess, I guess, you still got sick, so I guess you're not better than, the unvaccinated. So I'm glad that the ego has kind of been taken out of it, I guess.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I think it helps. Maybe people understand. If they do get it, they're just like, oh yeah, like I did what I thought was everything right, and honestly, people could be critical of stuff I did. Like I mentioned, I mean, I took the kids to Legoland for New Year's Eve. We went to up to Lake Arrowhead for an attraction. There's a place called Santa's Village, so we like do stuff. We've like gone to Disney a few times, so but it's like, well, these places are open, so and it's like people aren't dropping dead in the parking lot, so it's some degree of risk, but I don't know. I would rather have gone to whatever the 3-4 concerts I've been to in the second half of 2021 than have just stayed at home all the time. And I'm glad that I went and did stuff. And I think my daughter being 4, she's who I was most worried about, and she was the one who got she had like a very mild fever. She was the one who got the sickest because again, in the matter of choice, we chose to get our son vaccinated. He's 6, so he's able to, and he had 2 shots, and he never had any symptoms. So, in the microcosm of my household, it was minor. Nobody got really sick, even my daughter, who was unvaccinated. So I don't know if it helped us. Maybe it would have been exactly the same results, but that's what I look at as like, all right, I feel like these were the right decisions for me, the getting vaccinated, but also the going to Disneyland and going
Yeah.
to baseball games and going to things, and I mean, I'll go to stuff in the new year. I need to want to see the new Scream movie, Scream 5. I want to see it before it gets spoiled for me. I don't know what spoilers could be in the 5th Scream movie, but I want to see it, and now that, obviously I wasn't going to go to the movies if I was still COVID positive, but I still want to do stuff. I'm not going to not do things because I got sick. Honestly, I was joking that once I got it, I'm like, great, I can go on a cruise ship now because I'll have immunity for at least a little while. So I might as well do the things that even I considered being a little too risky. Maybe I will go to the buffet at the strip club, Sam.
Maybe you ought to go on a kiss cruise. Although,
Oh God, I would love to go on the Kiss cruise. They did it this year. They did it in October. They went. In October was a little bit easier, but I was
well,
just reading about a cruise that like they were the cruise itself was sort of canceled while it was at sea, so they're gonna just like not stop anywhere they were going to stop at. So it's like everybody on the ship is just gonna stay on the ship for like 5 days instead of getting off everywhere. And I was just like, oh my God, like being trapped on a cruise ship I think that's nightmare stuff.
that's like a horror movie waiting to
Oh my
happen.
God, yeah. Yeah, that really should be actually. It's if you take Chopping Mall and you move it to a cruise ship, what happens?
Mm-hmm. I feel like that. I feel like that's a premise that our good friend Rob Lorch would.
Oh my God, yeah, I
would
know.
come up with.
Yeah, I know. Rob is hard to keep tabs on because he's not on Twitter. He does have Instagram, but he doesn't really post a lot.
I've
But
been
I was like to
I've
check on Rob, see how he's doing.
I've been trying to I've been trying to coordinate getting a hold of him. It's funny because every time I'm about ready to get him on the show, something always happens. In this case, uh you know, in this case, a truck ran over people in Wisconsin, right near where he
Oh
lives.
yeah, right. I forgot about that. That's
So,
right.
and I was gonna have him on that week, and then that happened, and it was like, yeah, no, we might want to postpone that. So something always happens. So, but we'll get
Well, you should get him. You should get him on soon.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah.
we will get him on soon. If for no other reason than so we can hear from alternate Gene Simmons.
Oh my
So,
gosh, and it's like it's easy to forget that he has other voices. It was just the Gene Simmons was so good that we usually didn't ask for his Truman Capote, or I
his
forget which other ones he does.
even his regular bits that he used to do just as himself were
Oh yeah, no,
hilarious.
exactly. Yeah, I know. He's a very funny guy. That
He I remember
you
that
know. Yeah.
I remember there was one joke he did where he was like, "I'm gonna data fax Christian a copy of his autobiography that I've been ghostwriting for him,
Oh yeah,
or
I forget
something
what it
like
was, but you're
that."
right. It was something like that. Yeah. Oh, well, Sam, I am glad that I was able to jump on and help you celebrate. I know we lost Phil somewhere along the way, and I kept thinking he was going to come back, but I think that for you people on the East Coast, where it's almost 2 a.m., I guess it's still Saturday for me, so it's not the Lord's Day just yet.
Oh wow! Thanks for yeah, and thanks for to the East Coasters who are still on here, and that also explains why we have uh our favorite Australians popping in the chat too, because it's morning there. So
Oh yeah, the way that I'm clicked on Discord, I haven't even seen the chat, so I usually like to look at chat as it comes in, but that's all right. So I'm glad that I'm glad that I was able to the way that I usually do any kind of broadcasting is popping in for a few minutes, turned into about 2 hours. That sounds about right for me.
well,
Um,
you're always welcome here. So and
yeah, no, I mean, it's always fun when I can make the time. So I appreciate you having me. And happy birthday! And we will definitely find some time for Biden time with you in the near future.
I definitely appreciate it. And look, we might not have been able to figure out all of the world's problems, and we might not
No,
know the answer to whether or not the vaccine truly works. But I can tell you this for sure: everyone should subscribe to the Blackcast on YouTube or on iTunes. Or are you on Spotify yet?
I think Spotify is the one that I'm not on because I would have to actively do something to get on there. But we're on, most places, Apple, Google, and a lot of the apps that where you listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
And I've tried to have new purpose for the Blackcast Instagram, BLADTCAST, by the way, is because I know that we have as of now 474 episodes. I realized that I could do a Blackcast a day. I could post an episode a day, and I won't run out of it during the course of a calendar year. Because one, we do new episodes at least one a week, so I'm just posting links every day to a previous episode or newest episode. And the video version we have up currently is our latest episode 474. And I talk a little bit about my travel woes, being testing positive for COVID, and our pal Jeff, aka Captain EO, in Massachusetts. He also had COVID in his house. So Will Sterling was the only one that was not COVID positive, and it's probably just based on him being so handsome.
it is. I don't even know who this is. I get people who tweet me all the time. Someone tweeted at me if Will was still single, and I did not and I did not know the answer to that.
No, he got married again. Actually, yeah, he had like a small ceremony around Halloween. So he is not single. He was for a little while there. You know, there was a time to strike while that iron was hot. But he is a taken man again. But he will on Tuesday be. He has a small role on the ABC sitcom Blackish. I think he told us he's a waiter, but people will be able to see him on screen. So we'll talk about that. And my joke was that for this week they should call that show Blat-ish because of a nod to the Blackcast.
I definitely agree with that. So
Yeah.
you
That would be a show to watch. The just called Blat-ish.
I
Sitcom about the family.
I would totally want that. Would be a sitcom I would tune into every week.
Oh, good for you. I'm glad you would, Sam.
So
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, and then people can find me at Christian DMZ, Twitter and Instagram, and links to everything through there. Yeah, if people have enjoyed any part of this, and if they, unlike Apex Gamma, they don't hate Marvel movies, they can find a lot of content based on those. And I'm not associated with it in any way, but everybody should watch Peacemaker on HBO Max. It's very funny.
I haven't seen Peacemaker yet, but I definitely am interested in that. I just finished watching Invincible, which I thought was
That was good. Yeah, I think that was very well done. I enjoyed
good.
that. Yeah, it was definitely like there's times where like I got no problem with the gore and the guts and stuff, but there's times like especially in the first episode where I was just like, all right, did you need all this? I'm like, it's fine that you've got it. I'm not offended by it. I'm like, but was it necessary?
Yeah. Or just to the level of
Yeah, right, exactly.
I don't mind that they had it, but do they need to show that level of...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like I was like, I don't know that I needed all this, but the show I thought was very well done. It was an interesting concept and all that.
Yeah. So all right. Well, thanks for coming on, Christian, and I'll be sure to come on to your podcast.
We'll definitely have you on the Blackcast. We'll have you on Biden time and anywhere in between. We are always happy to have you. But
thank you.
Hope that it's a great celebration throughout the weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon, Sam.
All right, Christian. Thanks for coming on.
Bye-bye.
And folks, I think that will do it for tonight's show. I want to thank you all for popping in. Even Carl, even though, I know Carl isn't necessarily my biggest fan, he or she, may have a love-hate relationship with me. I don't know anymore. But all I know is that I love chat and I love the audience. Annabelle, I'm sorry you missed the the Gamma. I know he would have loved to have chatted with you a bit. But anyway, I will be back on Monday, and for the actual birthday stream, part 2. So I want to thank each and every one of you for popping in. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to TB. Shout out to Black Tooth Fox. Wow. First time live chatter. So shout out to Oki, you're still here. God bless you, Oki. I know it's late where you're at. So just hail to chat, hail to Fell in a Meadow, Whiskey, and to Dictator Phil. So God bless you all for sticking by me for 3 hours, and I will talk at you guys down the road. Until next time, have a good weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday.